Coming up on this episode of The Brain Drain Show.
I did it, looked at Wig, and he's just shaking his head, and the film had run out. You could just hear the camera, whirring when it's doing the rewind thing. I mean, obviously you can see that one's landed. You can see it's landed because it's a multiple exposure. So it's the integrity is really important to me. Like things being real is really important to me. I think that's when Paul Shire did the switchback so flip across the Westminster Road. Tom Penny was in London and he skated Southbank regularly, and he was doing amazing stuff, and absolutely no one filmed it. Flynn started trying it as well with me, and I'm like, oh my God, no, stop, because he could probably do it as well. It's fine just to stick a camera on a tripod. It doesn't matter. People tell you you're not allowed to do that, but you can do that. You just get sick of wearing the same stuff. You feel a bit like a product or something, I suppose. Not being a very good sponsored person. Dan MaGee was the only person to own a VX, and then the first person to get a Death Lens, no camera or anything, just on my own, and ollied it, and I was just so stoked on that. Can my ego take it if I just don't tell anyone? He nearly falls over the high side really badly, like face first over the high side. And when people said to me, that's a sick cover, I couldn't just go, yeah, cheers. I had to go, it wasn't landed straight away. I didn't land it. I just didn't have the tools back then to put that into words and explain it to people. So he would be playing bloody Tony Hawk's, and I'm like, mate, you're in San Francisco and you're playing a computer game. He got really drunk and was sick on the tape. He got it into playing fields before he was sick on it, at least.
Good evening and welcome to another great episode of The Brain Drain Show with me, Forde Brookfield. Joined to my left is Toby Batchelor. And Toby, do you want to introduce a special guest to your left, please?
It's Channon King.
Round of applause in the studio, please. Channon King right here. How are you doing?
Yeah, good.
Yeah, thank you. I know we spoke about it for a while, but it was like timelines were just like overlapping. It just didn't work until this specific moment, which is, it's meant to happen. You're on holiday, I guess.
Yeah, we bought a new house, moved into that, so I've just been drowning in renovating that.
House
really,
renovations.
Yeah. Are you doing the renovations yourself?
Yeah, apart from not touching the plastering.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
Had to get a plumber in to do some bits, but other than that, I'm doing it myself. I've done a couple of houses before, we've just been
pretty handy then with DIY.
Well, yeah, just mostly self-taught.
Mm-hmm.
My stepdad's a builder, so he sort of helped me and things like that. But just doing everything on shoestring as well, getting everything off Facebook Marketplace, and just trying to do it as cheaply as we can. Just been good. But
I'm fucking awful with DIY. I fuck everything up.
Well,
power tools are just.
But that's how you learn. You just that's how I've learned, is just. And looking back in hindsight, you can see how ridiculous it is, the things you do. But if you don't know, you don't know. You have to make these mistakes, and you learn the hard way, and you waste money and you waste time. But then you've learned, unless you've got someone there to teach you. It's just what you got to do.
As long as the house don't fall down and it stays standing, I think you've done a pretty good job. So I won't worry about it.
Yeah, this is It's a 70s house, so it's in a fairly good era.
Yeah,
when it was built, so it's pretty solid.
Yeah, you hear all kinds of horror stories now about new builds, don't you? They just fall apart, and
I think they're getting better now. There's obviously, the house we were living in before was hundreds of years old.
Mm-hmm.
It was an old bakery, and that just had no damp course. We had rising damp under the floor downstairs. If you look through the gaps in the floorboard, it was just mud. So you couldn't heat it up. It was just freezing
cold.
So it was an absolute night. It had really medieval drainage systems and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
Was it listed as well, so you couldn't do anything?
Yeah, it's in a conservation area. So someone at some point, obviously at times in history, the planning was pretty slack. They didn't really protect, or actually smashed down a lot of historical buildings and didn't protect historical buildings. So at some point it already had plastic windows in it, so we were allowed to change them like for like. Otherwise, if you're in a historical property, you're having to pay for oak windows and whatever else, and it can be really expensive. But
I bet.
We just had enough of we were going to have to get a damp course injected, because you could just see the tide line spreading up the walls, the damp. So we just had enough, and we're just like, right, okay, we're just going to get an ugly modern house, really. And we moved about 100 metres over. We just literally moved about 100 metres away and got off the main road and just moved into a fairly... It's not ugly, it's just boring 70s house.
Mm-hmm.
And then we could make it nice inside. And
Nice. Shall we...
Take it all the way back to the beginning
So-
as usual.
Where are you from originally?
Well, Sudbury in Suffolk. So, yeah, originally. And then we just moved to a village outside of Sudbury, just to Acton. So, yeah.
And when did you first start skating?
9 or 10 or something like that, I think. So, yeah, I think it was around the Back to the Future time. I think I was part of that wave.
Fucking everyone we've had on was a part of that wave at some point. It's the most mentioned thing on this podcast.
You have to look at it from like our point of view, because I was around the same time. It was like there wasn't much exciting stuff going on. So to see that when you're younger, it was like, what the hell is this? It's
I guess
really...
skate media itself was rarer then as well.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, it was so rare. I mean, you had the thing in the, I think there's a bit in Police Academy or something.
Police Academy 4
Yeah.
with the
Someone
Bones
ollie in a
Brigade.
car or something, maybe.
Yeah, the Bones Brigade doing their thing.
Yeah, they're riding off some like street ledges as well, aren't they? And doing
Yeah.
like little grabs
Yeah.
and that sort of.
And it was just any skateboarding. Obviously, I think probably Back to the Future would have probably been the first
Mm-hmm.
first time I'd seen it at all, probably.
Yeah.
And then there was little bits after that. But I think my friends just got into it. I think we all went to the cinema maybe and watched that, and then they all got into skating, and yeah, we all got boards and got into it because of that.
What was your first board?
A Pacer, which was actually probably quite good, actually, looking back for the time, because it had rubber wheels and it was thin. It was quite thin. So it wasn't a freestyle board, but it was a thin board.
Yeah.
From what I remember, I wish I still had it or had photos of it, but I've got
Maybe
nothing.
it was a mini or something, because they used to
Yeah.
do that, didn't they?
It was definitely sort of a good size. It wasn't like banana board, but it was...
Pacer was like a sort of budget brand, I guess, like entry-level brand, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, maybe sort of that somewhere where Veriflex were, sort of thing.
A bit, probably
They weren't
bit
absolute
better than
true
that.
toys, but they had rubber wheels and all of that. And then I suppose I saw older people riding wider boards and wanted a wider board just to be like everyone else, I suppose, really, to fit in. And all my friends had wider boards. So then I suppose I got a downgrade, really, and I got, I don't know, it was called the Bear, and it was one of those, like True Toys or whatever, the plastic wheels and all of that. And then I got that. And then I think I realised, actually, it's really slow because it's just got plastic wheels. So then I got rubber wheels for that and things like that, and tried to upgrade it. I know why I haven't got the Pacer, because I went to London to stay with my friend. So I had a friend in school who started skating the same time as me, and then he moved back to London, and we were out skating, and we just propped our boards in the porchway. And I'm from a village, or a small town.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And you could just leave your skateboard
shit
out there
anywhere.
all summer and nothing would happen to it. Wouldn't go anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
And we put our boards. So I lent him, I think I had my two boards because I kept the Pacer. So I think I took the Pacer and I took the other board.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, we went in and his board was out there, I think. And we just went in for literally a minute to get a drink. When we come out, they're gone.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I was pretty devastated by that. And then I got a Veriflex, space junk Veriflex, which was someone basically doing a rocket air in space.
Yeah, Veriflex were pretty good boards around that time. I remember everyone I skated with had Pacer wheels, the acid drop wheels.
Yeah.
When you bought them, they came in like a brown paper wrap stacked on top of each other.
Mm-hmm.
Because they were like 15 quid a set or something, and they were quite big, so they were pretty good value for money. But a lot of people had those.
Yeah, it was good. There's still, I did search it and did find there's images of that actually.
Yeah.
Of the Veriflex space junk, but.
So who out of your like original, like your friend you skated with, did he carry on skating with you? And
No, not the guy who moved to London. It was a bit of a. It was a real sort of culture shock and everything. I went there. I think I stayed with him for a week or something, and it was just absolute. It was just hell, really. Well, I mean, it was good. It was fun, but the things that happened to us were just crazy. We saw someone got mugged. Yeah, all sorts of things. Had my boards nicked and stuff like that. And because of that, obviously, I didn't want to go and stay again. And we just sort of, it was bad, and it was upsetting at the time. But I just kind of. Well, we just kind of stopped. It was, it felt like a long way apart back then,
Yeah.
Obviously couldn't, I was probably about 11 or something like that. And I had no real way of going up there and seeing him. I'm still in touch with him. He got in touch with me, or we got in touch with each other. I don't know how, on Instagram recently, but he didn't carry on skating. And
so how did that continue for you? Were you just living in the village skating, or did you kind of branch out to other surrounding scenes? What happened after?
Yeah, I think that, for years, I think I was, nowadays, obviously, you go online and it's just all there for you, isn't it? There's tutorial videos. Same with absolutely anything you want to do. Going back to the DIY, any DIY you want to do, you can just search it and there'll be a full really professional tutorial telling you how to do it.
Yeah.
And same with skating, and you've got all the tricks there. And I think where I was, I think most of the kids on my estate, they were quite a bit younger than me, didn't have they had no skateboard media, no magazines back then. So the first few years probably didn't really even do any real tricks, just skated around. I think we just raced and didn't really even have any hills. So we just skated around. I don't know what we did really. I think the first a new kid moved in round the road who skateboarded, and he had a friend who was a bit older who could actually skate. I think that was when I was first saw someone who could properly skate, and he ollied a picnic table into grass, but he ollied a picnic. Yeah. It's one of the smaller picnic tables, like a kid's picnic table. He did that, and he did and he did a bung-on handrail, small handrail. He just went round the village and he just did all this stuff, ollied this, bollard and things, and I was just blown away. I just couldn't believe it. Just blew my mind that someone we hadn't, probably at that point, we couldn't ollie up a curb or didn't know what ollies were or anything like that. And we'd probably been skating quite a while. Whereas now, you'd just straight away, you'd see, you get kids start up and they can kickflip after about a week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We didn't even know what that was. It was all just rumours and, and then when we did get mags later on, it was just sort of poring over sequences, trying to understand what the hell was going on.
Yeah, because the frames per second were pretty poor then. So if it was anything with a bit of detail, you're like, how does this work?
Or even not detail. I think I saw a sequence of Jed. I think a really mind-blowing sequence for me was just Jed Wells, I think it was, doing a wall ride on just a completely flat wall. And I was just like, I just couldn't understand how that was
the physics of
possible.
Going up a wall.
And they're the sort of things that sort of magic, of skateboarding, the magic is what sticks with you.
Yeah.
And you just, and I think I always wanted to be able to just ride up a flat wall, because to me that just seemed completely physically impossible, which I did later on, and did it downstairs and things like that. And that sort of, it's that sort of getting back to that magic, which is...
What is the key to wall rides? I've never been asked to do it. I can't do them.
I can't do them on a flat wall, but if there's even a slight bit of tilt, it seems to work. And I mean a slight bit of tilt.
So is it a psychological thing?
But is it a wall ride? This is the thing. Is it a wall ride if there's a tilt?
It's just a bank.
It's a bank.
Yeah.
If you've got a kicker to it or anything, you're turning it into something else, I think, a little bit. But no, the key is straight up, straight down.
Right.
Yeah. If you do any sort of... If you do, you can get a little angle, but if you do too much angle, it slides down the wall.
Yeah.
So you just got to, and just hammering the back wheels in. So scraping the tail and hammering the back wheels in really quickly, straight up and straight down. If you try and carve it, it will just go primo.
It is a pretty mental trick, really, isn't it, the wall ride?
It is.
like there's a
But
lot
they
going
just seem
against
to
it.
work.
But it's a magical thing. It's one of those things that's sort of magic, you know. It shouldn't
It always
work.
looks good, a wall ride. Did you see the latest Thrasher Spitfire San Francisco burning video? Someone does a trick into a hill bomb, and then he backside wall rides a moving bus.
Oh yeah, so it doesn't join at the bottom, obviously.
No,
and
so he just kind of like, it's
just
that shimmy.
somehow magically goes over a.
He's getting that front
void.
wheel on, and but he does it on a bus. And it's like,
I guess
with
that's a
with a
similar
gap-
motion to people who do slappy stuff on
on
high.
high ledges.
Yeah, it's almost, you just don't even think about the fact there's the gap under the bus or the ledges that high.
As soon as you get that,
It sounds kind of similar to a backside air as well. You know how you sort of like would bash into the coping to just like lift.
Yeah.
yeah,
Because on a backside air, you could technically just like not grab the nose and the board would just sort of
Just
stay
hang up.
with you for quite
Yeah.
some time. So it seems very similar.
Yeah.
For somebody who can't wall ride anyway, I
No,
can't do it.
I can't
Mia
do it.
taught me once and I still can't do it.
Can't do
I
it.
think it's all in, going up very straight, going straight up at it. But yeah, definitely just scraping the back wheels in really quickly.
Mm-hmm.
I think Mark Channer gave me some pointers on those because he was good at just riding up a completely flat wall.
Yeah,
But yeah, I think that's the sort of, I think it's easy to sort of lose that wonder with skateboarding, that sort of magic side of it that you have when you're, when you first see it. And it was way more magical back then because you didn't have all the media.
everywhere.
I think now you just so much online. Whereas then it was just kind of this mysterious thing that people told you about tricks and And I also liked that there wasn't the media, so it was more rumours of what people had done.
yeah,
Like even as I got older, you'd go around London and it was just like, oh, Ben Job's done this and Ben Job's done this, and or Gon's done that, and and Tom Penny did this, and half of it was probably not even particularly true. They probably didn't actually land a lot of that or whatever. But it was kind of that
going.
mystery.
Yeah.
You'd never see footage of it. A classic one was the Southbank ledge down the stairs, wooden ledge. But then on the side that goes like that, there was a legend of Tom Penny ollieing from the top of the stairs over and tail sliding that bit, where they built the transition now.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And tail sliding that, and it was one of those, Tom Penny tail slid that, and who knows, there's no footage of it.
Yeah.
Because people didn't film things, I mean, I remember a whole period when Tom Penny was in London for a year or so, and he skated Southbank regularly, and he was doing amazing stuff, and absolutely no one filmed it. No one at all. No one thought to film it. He's just doing it for himself.
Penny.
Yeah, just skating around doing the most incredible, absolutely ridiculous things.
Yeah.
No filming it, nothing, just,
Yeah.
What sort of stuff did you see Penny doing down Southbank?
So rather than big stunts, it was more like, he wasn't really trying to, he'd just go really, really fast. And it was just weird things. So he'd go really, really fast. And then to ollie the 7, he'd ollie from about, just miles before the 7 for no reason. He'd just ollie like a mile back and clear a mess for no reason. Stuff like that. And, going to there was obviously the little banks, that are back now, aren't they? The small banks. But he'd, again, hammer it and then from really, really far away,
To like ollie
do like a 360 nollie. I remember him doing that 360 nollie from really far away and then into the little bank, stuff like that. And I mean, the big traffic cone. I remember those big traffic cones. I remember him backside nollie flipping one of those, just stuff like that.
Yeah.
And it was sort of, he would come down in his hiking boots and things like that and just do nollie flip the 7 first go or something. You've just been sat at the side and you just come along and did that. And I saw him have some just horrendous slams as well, and he's just the worst. Like when he slammed, because he'd go so fast. When he'd slam as well, it was just horrific. Like a car crash.
I love those skate rumours, like the Ben Job ones are always good.
Yeah.
Like sitting at Southbank at night, no lights are on, and he skates into Southbank, skates the out ledge, and then just leaves.
Yeah.
It's like on his way home.
Yeah.
He just come up and just like backtail it or something, or just do something mental.
Yeah.
Not talk to anyone and just
exactly.
We ran into him in
Swansea.
Swansea, yeah. With with Daint. We were like talking to Lee Daint, and he was like, "You look like Ben Job," and then Ben Job was like, "You look like Lee Dainton," and you saw it go off in their head that they were like, "Oh, we are actually talking to those people."
There was a good one when I was living up in Yorkshire, like late 90s, when Paul Sylvester was really like killing it up there. I heard this rumour was amazing. You know those benches that they're made of like, they're metal, but they don't have a smooth surface. It's like strips of metal wrapped around. So there's gaps between.
Yeah.
It was like, I can't remember who told me. Maybe it was Tom Brown who was like, yeah, Paul Sylvester Smith grinds that bench. And there's no way you could, but he probably did. Because you just, there's nothing to grind. It's gaps and metal gap.
Yeah, it was all just on sort of urban legend, really.
Yeah, but now it's like everything's on the internet 30 seconds after it's done, isn't it? So it's a different.
But we are kind of, in a way, I mean, not anti-filming, but yeah, it was sort of, yeah, we didn't.
I mean, it just wasn't the regular, was it?
I had cameras at times, and just I must have just not used them, because I had one before I moved to London.
Mm-hmm.
And then just didn't use it. And then I borrowed a slam camera for a while, used that a bit. And I just didn't feel so much stuff, which I regret now.
Yeah.
And back then also, we didn't think you could, it's so stupid, because I mean, I went to a skate park the other day with Adam Howe and John Minter.
Big up Adam Howe.
Yeah. Yeah, he's still amazing. So is John Minter, just both of them just getting better with age, getting better and better. But all three of us had our little phones on our little tripods, and we were all filming our own thing, And I was saying to Minter, how nice it was. We don't have to waste someone's day trying to get them to film us now. We can just stick it on a tripod, and John was just like, it was so weird back in the day that he sort of wished as well we could go back in time and just say to ourselves, it's fine just to stick a camera on a tripod.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. People tell you you're not allowed to do that, but you can do that. You can just do that, and just, you're just recording, it's just for your own sake, if anything. It doesn't have to be on a video, but trick on a stick just for your own memories, to have that. Because otherwise it's just lost. I mean, I saw one of my friends, one of the older skaters from Sudbury, who gave up a long time, quit a long time ago, which he regrets. But all he had to show of his, however long he skated for, probably quite a long time, he had one photo of him on a mini ramp that someone had taken at really bad timing, where before he'd got the grab of a melancholy. So it's sort of just before, a terrible out of focus, ollie on a ramp, and then another one of a melancholy off a fly off. And that's all the evidence he's got of him skating, And we just had this weird rule back then that you couldn't put things on a tripod. And I just wish now, because I just did things just purely for myself. I mean, I'd go out at night when I was in London. I'd go out completely on my own at night and
just skate,
do things, and there was a time, and that was stupid. And there was a thing at Crown Pools, quite a famous spot in Ipswich. And there's a big old sort of barrier there, out of not much of a slope, a really, mellow wheelchair ramp. And I'd been injured for ages. I'd had my ankle, I think I'd done my ankle in or something like that. And so I'd been skating mini ramp and nothing else for ages. And I was just skating through there to go to the mini ramp, but my ankle was sort of healed. Yeah, but there's this big old bar to ollie. And it was, Julian, who was just probably the best skateboarder that there ever was in Ipswich, who checked out pretty early. But that was totally out of character for him. He was quite tech. But he had tried to ollie that barrier, which was just, I think it was more crazy because he was more known as tech stuff. And he just had a go at it, which was absolutely crazy back then for the time he did it as well. And I think he broke his ankle. So it's just this amazing thing that we're all just like, oh my God, I can't believe that wasn't even a thing, especially back then. That was just no way a thing that anyone could try. So that always stuck with me. Like, I saw him try that, or heard of him try it. I can't remember if there's footage. I think there might have been. But I was so blown away by it that really stuck with me. And I, you know, that I wanted to do that one day, you know. And I was skating through, and I just like, I don't know why, I just decided, you know, I'd been ollie and stuff. I was like, I'm going to have a go at that. And I was on my own, just in the daytime. And yeah, and basically just no camera or anything, just on my own, and ollied it, you know. And I was just so stoked, like buzzing, you know. It's this sort of legendary thing for me. And I just thought,
you told someone, then that became an urban legend of someone being like, "Yeah, I did that."
well, I just made this weird decision because I don't know. I was just like, I'm just not going to tell anyone. I'm so stoked on that, but can my ego take it if I just don't tell anyone? Can I just go to this? Because I was going to the sort of skate house that had the mini ramp in the back garden, and I thought, can I just do that for myself and not tell anyone? Do I just skate for myself? Which now I know, no, I definitely don't. It's, you know, definitely tied up with ego and everything, which is fine. But back then I was just thinking, do I skate for myself? I remember that, I remember that clip of Pat Duffy, and he's saying, you know, that he just skates for himself, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Mike Tanansky's asking him who is that for, and he just said, you know, for myself. And I thought, you know, do I skate for myself, or is it just ego, you know? So I just went back to the skate house, and everyone was there, and I just didn't tell anyone that I'd ollied it. I just, you know, even though I was buzzing, like adrenaline and just so stoked.
Did you never go back there and film it?
So, well, this is the thing. So I kept quiet about it, didn't say anything, you know, really kept a lid on it. And then, I don't know, a few weeks later, Harry just came down to see Frank, and he ollied that, and then I just couldn't hold it in anymore. I was like, I ollied that. I ollied that about 3 weeks ago, which, you know, is, you know, so obviously took the shine off it a bit that Harry had ollied it, but and regretted then keeping a lid on it. And then I refilmed that. Me and Mondon refilmed it, and when I was refilming it, the one I'd done just on my own without cameras or anything, I did perfectly. Went back there with Mondon, and every single time I ollied it, I just ding in the bar, which doesn't matter. And I could have just stopped, you know, but I just decided it did matter, but it doesn't matter. But my back wheels kept dinging the bar. So I did it over and over again and couldn't get one without it dinging.
It's an interesting one, like the psychological battle, because I do a lot of filming, and going off what you said earlier about, you know, feeling bad that you're wasting someone's day filming.
Yeah.
If they love filming, they'll like, I'll just be there all day. But I've noticed when I film with people, say if we go to a spot and they're sending a couple of whatever, and we get ready to film it, it's like psychologically in their head, they start doing it a completely different way. Because they probably want to do it so much better on film. They start failing at it, and you're like, no, just literally do what you were doing. But it's like, as soon as that camera comes out, it's like it blocks their
even
mind.
when it's trick on stick. I'll be doing a trick, and I'll be going, you know, maybe I'll be going fairly slow at it, you know, and then as soon as the camera comes out,
quicker, more pop,
because I'm really neurotic anyway. And as soon as the camera comes out, I start going faster. I start doing it faster, and then I'm thinking about the way I'm thinking about the way I'm holding my body and everything. And I start, but obviously with the trick on a stick thing, you're in complete control of what happens to that footage.
Yeah.
This is why I would, go insane, because it's control, and I wouldn't have control of that trick.
Mm-hmm.
Now I can be calm, because one, I'm not I always felt bad you wasting someone's day, and it's a real self-fulfilling vicious cycle. The more you worry you're wasting someone's day, the more you can't do it and you waste someone's day, you know, and it's just a horrible vicious cycle, and you just get worse and worse at it, you know, the more you worry about all these things. And you're also, like I was saying to John Mint when we were talking about that, because we both know how to film, we're micromanaging the filmer, especially if it's someone who doesn't know how to film and you've just tried to instruct them how you want it filmed. You're not only skating, but you're thinking about how they're filming it, and you sort of almost don't want to land it because you know they're not filming it properly.
It's because you can also imagine how you want that trick to look and how it should be filmed.
Yeah, and you're seeing it's not getting filmed like that.
And then I've had it sometimes where, like, someone said to me, "Oh, what about here?" and it's been really good, and then I've had people say it and it's been a terrible angle. But it's like, if we went to film a trick, my vision on how it looks is different to yours.
Yeah.
And it will never coincide with each other. So one of you's got to take the loss. And And usually I do tend to side with the person that I am filming.
But I think there's certain ways, and I know, obviously I take photos as well, some, you know, not a lot, but I've always taken the odd picture here and there. But and just from looking at thousands and thousands of images of skateboarding, there's definitely certain places a trick looks best from, and we kind of all know that.
100%.
There's certain, you know, like something like a Smith. There's a certain way to film a Smith that shows how it's dipped down, and other ways it will just make it look like a you know, a Smithy 50 or whatever, you know, just not properly in. And yeah, we all kind of instinctively know that. You don't think you're following a you know, a rule book, but because you've looked so many images, you kind of are. It's just instinctive that you just film things from a certain way. You shoot photos from a certain way on certain tricks, and we all kind of know that, you know. So I think there is a consensus. I think there is kind of I think there is a right way to film a trick. There may be a couple of right ways, but there's usually a right way and some wrong ways.
That is an interesting take, because there's certain, like, I think it's in a Toy Machine video in the 90s where someone starts off a line filming a tray flip arse shot. I can't remember what line it is, but I can picture the tray flip dead low, clear as day, and it's arse shot, and I think they overlap, because me and Miles filmed one years later in a video part in 2023 where he does he skates off a rail, then tray flips off the curb, but he wanted it to be filmed from the back to ode that one. I'll have to try and find it. It might be Mike Maldonado or someone. But you are right. There is there's definitely like a certain rule book on the way tricks are filmed. 100%.
Yeah, I mean, like the arse shot thing is, you know, is one of the things. You know, it's kind of a bit of a no-no. That doesn't mean. I mean, I like to film when I'm doing trick on stick. I'll do stuff from the back, but going away from the camera, but from the side back, not back, but back side. And I do that because you start off big to small, so whatever object you're skating, you're not dwarfing it. Otherwise, if you're coming towards the camera, you're dwarfing the thing you've just skated, you know. I think a lot of that stuff was when Mike Manzoori, I spent time with him and filming, and he just told me lots of little things like that, you know.
Yeah, if there's anyone to listen to, it's probably
Mike. And he told me things like that, and they really stuck with me, you know. He was like, that's obviously makes it look faster as well if it's going away from the camera and things like that. And so I often do that, so you don't end up a massive giant in the shot and things like that. So that's not back, you know, it's not back arse shot, but it's sort of
because you're going from the camera to the obstacle, so it's like, whereas if you're filming it the opposite way, it seems faster and then slower, especially if you're skating a bank as well.
That's right.
On the approach,
Yeah, so there's definitely it doesn't mean that people can't, you know, step out. People can do it the hell they want. It doesn't mean you can't step outside of that, but there's definitely kind of rules and tricks and things that make stuff look better. And,
100%.
And I think skateboarding is aesthetics. You know, to me, I don't. You know, I think the reason I started skateboarding was because Marty McFly looked cool. You know, I think that's really why we all started skating.
I was literally just about to say that. Like anything that's based on aesthetics, like skateboarding, there's bound to be a way where things are going to look more aesthetically pleasing. It's just the way it is, isn't it? 100%.
Yeah. And things like clothing and stuff like that, which, you know, I think I've only just really realised now. Well, I've realised for a few years, I think, but yeah, definitely clothing and things like that. That is because it is aesthetics, especially nowadays, because everyone can do everything. You know, nothing really shocks me now. It's just, it doesn't matter how big it is or how tech it is. I could see anything, and it wouldn't particularly surprise me, because people are just so insane. Humans have just become so insanely good at everything.
Yeah.
So you're not really going to stand out really in that way. I mean, you'll be forgotten in 2 minutes anyway, because just something else will replace it. But I think things like aesthetics and style, and you do just see those same things popping up again, the really stylish photos or tricks, they kind of do stand the test of time.
I like seeing photos or footage, we've spoke about it, where it's like, we say like that could be shot in the mid-90s. It just looks that good.
Timeless stuff.
We were actually watching the clip I think Mondon filmed you where it's where was it? It was the tray flip, and then it was the Mayday grind to fake it. Then you flip back.
Yeah.
Is it the Berkeley Banks?
Yeah.
We was watching that, and Toby was like, "Look at the trousers, look at the Gap sweater, like look at the hat, like that line is fucking sick."
Yeah, I'd agree with that. That's got and it's got a certain flow to it.
You can identify the era of it just by like looking at it, like everything about it.
Yeah, and that's what I mean. That little that's what it's about. It's a piece of art when you're filming. You know, it's a collaboration between a skateboarder and a filmer or photographer, and it's a little capsule of art, a little time capsule.
Mm-hmm.
And the aesthetics of it are the most important thing. It's definitely not the tricks.
Mm-hmm.
But those tricks, obviously, it's the spot. That spot, just incredible. Spent a lot of time there.
It looked amazing.
You know, actually, in hindsight, if I could go back, I would just spend most of my time there and just really dive into just that spot because it was so good. But
is it still there or is it long gone?
No, gone.
Yeah.
But yeah, you know, it's the certain things in that clip that I think, you know, and obviously I'm talking about myself, so I don't want to sound arrogant, but it's not about that. It's not about the way I've done it. It's just the pieces that have come together. I mean, I bought that. I don't even know. We went into a.
It was a Gap sweatshirt, wasn't it? Was it Gap?
No, it's
I thought it was
a university sweater or something. Cal. I just got it from a
Cali or something.
It just said Cal on it, but I just got it from we went into, I think they call them thrift stores or something.
Yeah,
like so it's not quite a charity shop.
Not like a Goodwill, but like not a vintage, but like a thrifty.
Yeah. So we went in there. I can't remember why, but we went in there and then I just bought that. I didn't know what it was. I still don't know really. It's a university sweater, I suppose.
You still got it, or is it long gone?
Oh God, no. I don't really know. Hang on to stuff.
Yeah.
So I just had that, you know, and it's just, things like that, the visuals are nice in that, and I can see that's nice. And then other things I see, because I didn't really know how to dress. That's the thing. I just got what was given to me.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I only bought that because you get sick of wearing, I suppose you just get sick of wearing the same, you know, and again, that's not being a very good sponsored person, but I don't know, you just get sick of wearing the same stuff. You feel a bit like a product or something, I suppose. And
what you're saying there, I think that's kind of what happened when everyone started riding blank decks.
Yeah.
All the pros, they were sick of having graphics.
But I can see how dumb that is now.
But back then it's just...
Back then I think I don't know what I wanted, but I just think I just wanted kind of a change or something. I don't know. And I just went and bought that sweatshirt, and I would have had tons of Blueprint clothes.
Yeah.
But just wanted something that I'd bought, I suppose.
Yeah.
I think the main aesthetic of it as well is the camera. We talk about it all the time. Like I don't have the patience for it now, but you know, like the VX1, the Mark 1, the square format, and then we go as deep into like the weight of it, how it felt, how easy it was to use.
Yeah, the weight's really important.
Looks amazing.
Yeah.
And like people are doing real good 4x3 stuff now, but unless you have that lens, even the 4x3 stuff does not look the same. And imagine
it wasn't just the look of the footage and how the camera was. It was how good that camera looked. When you see it,
when you was filming with that camera, I saw someone filming with it, you had that like spark of like, that's the shit.
Yeah. Well, I mean, at one point, I know Dan MaGee was the only person to, I think, own a VX, and then the first person to get a depth lens. I remember when I first started filming with him, he had a bogroll lens on the VX.
Yeah.
Just got the VX and he had a bogroll on there. So we filmed a load of stuff bogroll. Everyone did. And and then I think the Zero video maybe came out, and everyone was like, what the hell is this, you know? Really up close. Jamie Thomas was getting really close with the depth lens. No one knew what the hell that was.
Well, who did you say you saw using it in Radlands? And you were like, shit, what is that?
I can't remember now. Oh,
he speaks about buying it in a magazine. He saw it.
Was it Dan Wolf or somebody?
Yeah. Saw it in a magazine,
Yeah, when it was, because it was Century Precision Optics.
And then a year later, everyone had that.
And then, basically everybody had one.
So I guess he did the Eastern Exposure video with it, and the jump from like Eastern Exposure 1 and 2 to maybe 3. Is it the Ricky Oyola part?
No, three's all not. Dan Wolf had it wasn't full bog roll. It was actually quite nice. There's only a bit of vig on the sides.
Yeah.
That's why that video. Yeah, I mean, some people like the vig, didn't they? But I think that video stands the test of time because he obviously got a lens that was wide enough but didn't have vig. So Dan had a wide angle lens, but it wasn't wide angle like Dan Wolf's. And then he had the full bog roll, and he filmed a load of stuff bog roll. And then
because I know exactly, I can literally picture it like over the top vig. It's not really that wide. Yeah, it's very just like almost
the full bog roll,
bog roll lens.
And he filmed loads of really good stuff on that. And then I'm pretty sure it was the Zero video. And then Dan was like, "Oh, this is gonna, we talked about it," and he just said to me, "Shall I buy one?" I was like, "Well, they're not going away. This is gonna, you're gonna have to, because this is the way things are going." So he tried to find out where to get one, and it was Century Optics. And then back then, I don't know how we would have found out where Century Optics was, Yellow Pages or something. J.R. Hartley did or something.
Slow internet email connection and calling someone up on a telephone.
God knows. But it turned out, because the sort of Blueprint house, the headquarters in London, were in Boston Manor. And it turned out it was literally just 5 minutes round the corner was Century Optics.
Amazing.
UK headquarters.
And what do you do? Like literally walk round to it?
So I think so. You'd have to obviously check with him, but I'm pretty sure that he just went round there and got one from there, ordered one from there.
Yeah. Fucking hell, imagine that.
And he was just he was the only one at that point in the UK to have a VX and to have a Century Optics lens, and which is crazy to think about. But it also meant that, if you wanted to get that sort of footage, that was the only way to get it, really. So, everyone wanted to obviously film with Dan, so which is, quite a good thing,
I think when that lens first came out, they were £800 plus VAT.
Yeah. Well, that's why he was really, because just the camera itself was an outlay.
Yeah.
And then, paying that for the lens was pretty scary for him, So, but I was like, wow, you're going to have to do it. And I think with a company like Blueprint, it is so much about the aesthetics.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, they did nail it.
Yeah, it wasn't like a company that maybe does well off contests and tours and things.
So what happened to all the bog roll footage?
Well, obviously he did a lot. And that was that Build and Destroy, not Build and Destroy.
I think it was Blueprint Build and Destroy.
Yeah, that's right. Promo with Rattray front blunt in the Southbank ledge and things like that. So that was all the bog roll. So a lot of the bog roll was in that. And then all of that other stuff just got completely, that's just lost, never used. Because I remember Dan came down and filmed, I'd never met Dan before. And obviously Phase 7, Blueprint's financer,
Joe Burlow.
Distribution centre, was sort of 10 minutes up the road from me. So Dan was having to come down sort of on business, come to Phase 7. And so I'd sort of just got sponsored with him, and he came down to Sudbury, so I just took him to the few spots we had and filmed some good stuff, actually. That I was really happy with, but it's bog roll, so unfortunately never got used, which was a real shame. But
we'll do a bog roll count in the corner. Hang on a minute, Toby. We need to talk about this episode's show sponsor, and it is Skull Candy. If you're travelling or just trying to zone out a bit of noise, Skull Candy have got you covered.
The Crusher ANC2 headphones are wild. You get Crusher bass, you can literally feel active noise cancelling and up to 60 hours of battery.
And if you want something smaller, I'd recommend checking out the Method 360 ANC. Powered by Bose sound, so the audio quality is amazing, the ANC is incredible, and the bass is ridiculous. Not only that, but Skull Candy also do incredible colours and designs, much better than your typical tech company.
Use the code BrainDrain20 for 20% off your order at skullcandy.co.uk. Now back to the show.
Toby?
Back to the show.
Back to the show.
I said it. It's back to the show.
Back to the show now.
Back to the show. The idea, what you were talking about earlier as well, the idea of having someone filming you, like, you know, not on a phone, but actually follow filming and doing that, it's fucking stressful.
And it's
just not enjoyable.
It was just, I mean, things like with, you always had to book an appointment for things because, you know, one person had, you know, Dan, one person with a VX, and you kind of had to, you know, as a sponsored skateboard, if you couldn't do comps and you couldn't do demos because you were, you know, it's not something that suits me at all because of, you know, being too far on the side of introversion, that I couldn't do that. So if you can't do those things, then what's left to you really is, shooting photos for magazines,
videos,
or filming. And both of those things, because not many people took photos and not many people had cameras good enough to film. So not only, like, now you can self-publish and it's instant and you've got control over the footage and potentially you've got an audience of millions, potentially, you know, that it's whoever can look at Instagram. So potentially you can get that, if you create the right content, you can get that out to everyone. To get any kind of audience to then basically do a job as a sponsored skateboarder, you know, you had to do something for the sponsor. Obviously, it's, you know, you're just a billboard on wheels, aren't you? You know, really. And to do any kind of job, you had to get on a video. So that meant, trying to book in with someone to film something. So then you were loading it already because this person's time was kind of sought after, you know, and then that was all putting a load of pressure on you to then do the thing. And it has to be something good. So then it's going to be something big and difficult. You know, you're really stretching yourself as well. So then you're booking in something that you're scared of, or, you know, is going to be, you might not even be able to do. So just the pressure, I mean, like the pattern, you know, example, the Paternoster 50/50 thing, St. Paul's, that I did. You know, doing that for the first time.
Is that the sequence photo that you shot?
Yeah,
the strobe sequence.
The strobe sequence with Wig. So doing that, I think we used to drop it in. There was a tradition every time we walked through St. Paul's, you had to drop in, you know, just on the ledge bit. And then I think one night I just ground the last stage, and I was like, oh, that locked in, like the wheels locked in, and I was just like, so then I tried just sort of dropping in the actual grind from a few stages up. Did that, and I was like, well, that locked in. And I was like, right, okay. So then I dropped in and I think ollied into it and just did the 3 last stages, and then dropped it in from the top. And I was like, right, well, I can ollie onto the last 3 stages, and I can put my board on and grind the whole thing. So I think I can grind the whole thing.
The whole thing, yeah.
And so basically, I was like, right, I would do that for a slam ad. And then you had to basically book in with Wig, and I think Wig was probably in Oxford or something. So it was a case of him driving down, you know. And while he was down, he wanted to, you know, get a load done because it's his time. And so I wouldn't even tell him what I was going to do because I didn't want to load it, you know. And then only person I told was Seth from Slam because I just didn't want to build it up and make a claim. And and then turned up there on the day, and this was before Blueprint or anything, but turned up, and Wig was like, oh, I'm meeting other people first. So then we met up with, you know, Shire, Flynn, all these people, all these people that were wanting to shoot stuff. I think that's when Paul Shire did the switchback so flip across the Westminster Road, Bainesy. Yeah, so all of them, and I, you know, and obviously you just want it to be you and the film, you know, you don't want a whole audience, especially someone like me who's, you know, who can't handle that. You know, and so, I didn't tell anyone. I was like, right, we'll just go to St. Paul's. I've got this thing, you know, and then you've got the Blueprint team, or, you know, sitting there at the bottom of the stairs watching you, waiting for you, you know, and you're wasting their time. And I mean, and then Flynn started trying it as well with me, and I'm like, oh my God, no, stop, you know, because he could probably do it as well. And the amount of pressure that's on you, you know, and that worked out all right. But just, that amount of pressure being loaded on you, you know what I mean? You couldn't just get your phone out go somewhere on your own, take as long as you wanted, and if you fail, just fail and walk away.
Mm-hmm.
It was this big thing, wasn't it? You know,
it's an interesting take because now I'm kind of at the point where like I love filming, but I mainly film with my friend Joe. We just go out like one-on-one, and then if I want a good mini ramp skate, I just like skating around with Sean, and I'm comfortable with both, like with those things.
Yeah,
like
it's just about getting older and just like we were saying earlier, just knowing what you like, and being quite content with that.
But you seem quite extroverted,
to
say the least.
I mean, I did come out and greet you by going, "Way!"
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
And you just kind of like, "Fuck me."
I definitely fall a lot closer to where you are.
Sure.
I'm not crippled. I'm not crippled by it, but I definitely know where I am.
You're aware of it.
I struggle with it a lot.
Yeah.
So a lot of things that you say, I'm like, yes.
When
I agree.
I feeling eyes on you, even though they're not, even though they're bloody not in my head.
Yeah.
They are.
Yeah.
I just feel that I'm being watched, and
it's not anyone else's fault.
No.
Like it's definitely a us problem, but it's
the same as alcohol. It's like alcohol, and I went out. I don't really drink much. I'd drink now and again, but if I go, mainly because I've got a kid and we just don't go out to things like that at night. We don't go out at night time, and but we went to a birthday thing the other day, and I just thought I cannot be in here without having a drink. I have to have an alcoholic drink.
Just something to sort of just
take the edge off.
Yeah. Literally.
The social anxiety, even though you're not being looked at, but just that pressure. And it's the same with me with skating, that I have to be like with someone that I'm just really comfortable with, that they've seen me. Yeah, I just know they've seen me skate at my absolute worst, and they've all 100%. And I don't know, so I can just skate like crap in front of them.
That's why I like skating with these guys, because there's just no pressure.
I think it was you, Sean, that said ages, and it's one of my favourite quotes, or it might have been Rashid, or it might have been both of you, where they were like, "Oh, we like skating with you because you'll do the talking for us."
No, I've always said like
a crowd of people, they can just kind of like drop off into the back, and I'll just be like.
No, I've said that about you. I like going places with you because you draw the attention away from me, and I mean that in the nicest possible way.
It is Drano.
I can use you as a shield almost.
Like at the end of the day now, I go home and I'm like, I used to be able to keep it going for like days on end, like we were talking about staying at travel lodges, like tours and stuff. But now it's like I go home at 8 o'clock, lay down, and I just go, oh my God, it's completely different feeling on now. Definitely
getting older.
But no, I do get that. But that 50-50 photo is amazing. Like Wig's a great photographer as well.
How many times did you have to do it?
So
did you have to go back for it? Or was it...
I mean, that was another thing actually. So we went there for the slam ad.
Yeah.
Wig. So I'm doing it. Flynn's trying it with me, and then he nearly falls over the high side really badly, like face first over the high side. Everyone's hearts was in their mouth. So and then he stopped because it was terrifying.
Yeah.
So then I was on my own trying it. Did it, and this was, again, life was just, in skating, it was so hard back then. It was ridiculous, and it was hard for photographers as well, because it was me rolling toward, because it was a high ollie, and I had to ollie with my toes. I had to actually purposely sort of ollie with my toes set back a bit so my toes didn't stub on the wall. So I was having to ollie in a strange way. So you'd try it. Wig would obviously start the sequence as I'm rolling up. So then he's shooting probably, I don't know, maybe 3 or 4 frames as you're riding up before, and the ollie. So he was using film. So then you're probably getting, 5 attempts, then one would go, So in those 5 attempts, he'd end up using most of a film. And you didn't have infinite film. You had what was it, 36 or something on
36 per roll.
Yeah, on a roll. So basically the first time I did it, looked at Wig, and he's just shaking his head, and the film had run out. He just you could just hear the camera, whirring when it's doing the rewind thing.
Just like ticking over.
So he's just shaking his head. I'm just like, oh my God, I've been through all that. And it was, it was every bit of energy you had, because it's big ollie. And then you've got to go through all those kinks, and there's thinking about your toes and all this stuff.
How many kinks was it?
I don't
3
know.
or 4?
Yeah. I can't think off the top of my head.
Where do you count the kink from?
3,
From the damn flat?
Well, wherever the rail changes.
Maybe 5. 1, 2.
You might be able to.
I think
load up
5.
the
Yeah, like
photo.
5 levels.
5, levels.
Yeah, you're
Yeah.
adjusting them that amount of times.
So then he's just shaking his head at me like, no. And then film's run out. So I've had to go back up. I mean, even walking up those stairs was knackering, and then go back and do it again, And it's always harder once you've done it. And then, it's difficult once you just like, I wish that was just done because you're so tired, aren't you, So yeah, I did it that time. And then Wig gave it he obviously had a vision of how he wanted it to be. And what it was supposed to be is the photo sequence. And he was gonna, because you didn't have computers to, like now, I was talking to Wig about this, about how much easier skate photography is now. Now, I mean, and I've even done these myself on my phone. You just stick your camera on a tripod and just do a remote shutter of a sequence, and then you can just go onto your phone, onto Photoshop, and you just layer them, and then just rub out, layer them, then rub out, and you can make a multi-exposure like that. Back then you couldn't do that, so he was going to take the sequence, and then he was going to print them out, and then he was going to rip the photos and then piece them together, so it had the rips in. Had this plan for it. I don't know how well he communicated that to the guy in Slam laying the ad out, but it didn't get across to the guy, and it was laid out really badly. So yeah, it just didn't work because Wig hadn't opened the frame up so you could see the whole thing. All you could see it, because it was all supposed to be joined together, so all you could see it was just
too claustrophobic.
Yeah, and so it just didn't work, and no one even noticed it, I don't think. So Wig was never happy with that. So that was 2 times. I went back with Manzoori to film it. We were trying to do that, a 4-on-1 sort of Wheels of Fortune thing, which I think because of the crossover with cameras going from high 8 to digital, and from 3 chip cameras. Manzoori filmed tons and tons of stuff at me on a high 8 camera, and then switched to 3 chip digital. So I think a lot of that stuff got shelved because 4-on-1 were just trying to, or it might have just been rubbish, could be. But anyway, he was on about going back and doing that. So I went back and I did it with him. I think that was just the once, 3 times. And then Wig wanted to go back and do it again because he wasn't happy with the way the photo came out. It was laid out. So we went back again. And I thought I'd done it once. And then I looked at my footage because I did trick on stick. So I remember at the time Ollie Barton was just like, because trick on stick was just an illegal thing to do back then. He's just like, you might as well. You've got a camera, just stick it on a tripod. So we did that. But yeah, it turns out I'd done 2 then as well. So yeah, ended up having to do it tons and tons of time. But that was how things were back then. You couldn't just, one and done. The amount of things that I had to go back and do over and over again, and having to face something like that, because it's just the energy and just the amount of energy something like that takes, having to try and psych yourself up to go through that again when you've already done it 4 times or whatever it was. And I don't know why we did it twice with Wig. I don't know. He might have just been doing one to be safe or something. Because obviously back then, before you had digital cameras, you couldn't, I was taking pictures the other day of John Minter, and you can just
look at them.
You take a picture to get your, exposure. You just obviously do it. I do it on auto, do the exposure, and then I'll switch to manual, and put those, put the shutter speed and exposure and everything in. And then, as the clouds go in and out, I just sort of click it up or down and take an empty photo, look at it. Yeah, exposure's good. You move back a bit if you're cutting arms out, because you can see you're cutting arms out. Back then, what people used to do was bracket it. They used to take a picture on what their light meter said, and then do one with stop down and stop down and a stop up. To make sure that they got one that was exposed well. I mean, that's the thing. Back then, obviously you can see that one's landed because it's a multi. That's what I love about that picture, because it's 100% authentic, because you can see it's landed because it's a multiple exposure. So it's the integrity is really important to me. Like, things being real is really important to me. And you can see that with that. But most of what you saw, it's kind of an illusion. You grow up, like most people, you know, you grow up in, and you know, you have an illusion. You look at magazines and you think everything is landed. You think everything is landed. That one is landed. That's what you think as a kid. But the reality, that's not the reality. In the old days, and I understand why, but in the old days, we would take, you know, hundreds of photos or whatever it was while you tried the trick. And then they would go through those. They wouldn't go, right, it wouldn't be the last one that you took. It would be going through with a, you know...
The, what's it called?
Like the magnet, what we used at Skins, like the
monocle type thing. Yeah. You would go through on a light box and you'd see the best one, the best one that was framed, the best exposure.
Yeah.
And all of that, and that's the one you'd use. It would have nothing to do with the actual landed trick.
So, are you quite a fan of using the photo of the trick that landed?
I only use with it when I take pictures. Obviously, I've got no excuses now as well because we've got digital. I only take the one. Like when I was taking that picture of John Minter the other day, last weekend. Yeah, I was taking that, and he was doing like a big spin, nollie heel or something, and. Yeah, sometimes his graphics would be facing me, and I was like, "That's what I want. I want the graphics facing me because it looks really good." And yeah, I took the way he landed. He landed one off you know, before I took a picture, and then I got him to do another one. And it was just, you know, just how these things are. It was easy to him the first time. Then as soon as I said, "Can you do another one?" it was a bloody battle for him. So yeah, and then he got one, and the board wasn't. It was perfect timing, but it was just different timing. It was grip tape because it's so hard to get that precise graphics of grip tape. Yeah, and I got the graphics, not the. I got the grip tape, not the graphics. And yeah, I said to John when we were leaving, I was like, I always send people the pictures because, you know, I just do it for fun or whatever and want them to just enjoy it. So I was like, I'll send you the picture. I was like, oh, shame I didn't get the one with the graphics. And John was like, oh, well, just send us one with the graphics. I'm like, nope. You know, and I just, I lock the one that they've landed. And before there's any temptation, I just delete the rest.
Rashid is the exact same.
All. Yeah.
We'll go film a trick. And if you're shooting a photo, that photo of the trick has to be the exact same one in the footage. And even I've said to him before, I'm like, no, don't worry about it. He's like, I'm not having a photo in one T-shirt and footage in another. Because I remember years ago, I can't remember what trick it was or what MaGee it was or what video, but seeing a trick and then seeing the video and it being much smaller. So like a front side air, and then seeing the footage and it was like down here. And like, oh, that's not the same thing.
I had this with my friend Steve, and he was a young kid at the time, but he switch flipped some big old massive stairs in Colchester. And the one he did, you know, credit to him for doing it because he was, you know, 16 or something. And but you know, it was amazing. It was huge. And the one he did was, you know, a bit of a speedboat, you know, but he did it. But there was other photos I took where he was boning it and it was, you know, looked really good. And it was like, oh, can't we just use that one? I'm like, Steve, you speedboated it. We're going to, that's it. You have to embrace the speedboat.
Speedboat the direction of the flip. So like when people do like a rocket flip where it dips down. Thing. Again, Rashid's the exact same thing, especially if
I suppose it'd be... yeah, well, sorry, I was thinking about which way a speedboat would go with the switch flip. But anyway, so not...
it makes sense.
Yeah, just not a nice boned flip, basically. And it's like, it's so far from what he did. It's like, you're just lying. You know, you're lying, unfortunately. You did that boned one, but you didn't land that. That's not what you did. You know what I mean? You did something else. And yeah, and it's just a bit of an illusion. And I understand why that was... I mean, I don't think it would have been really, really difficult. Most stuff you just wouldn't have got the shot back in the day on real film because of light changing and things like that. Now, I just don't think there's really an excuse nowadays because you've got the digital cameras. You know, I think it's part of the skill, but I can't stand looking at a picture that I've taken and I know that it was just a star jump and they didn't land it. You know, I just
when people say, "I'll just kick one out." Kind of thing.
And I can't bear it. I want to look at the real, and I'm the same with music, so I don't listen to anything but authentically, you know, it sounds really pretentious, but it's not. It's just literally because I need things to be authentic. I only listen to authentically recorded things. So almost like a live lounge type situation.
Right.
So I want the band to be playing. I don't want layers added afterwards, because me, it's just fake. It's fake music, and where does that stop?
There's
that you just layer it on.
Interesting.
I picked up a record a couple of weeks ago, just a brief one. I'll send it to you through Instagram. He's called C.W. Stone King. He's like an Australian, but kind of blues music. And on the back of his record, he says the songs on this record are how they were recorded.
Yeah.
He's like, he's got all the band in one room. The backing singers, he says on the back of the record, I'll show you it. He says that they had to lean in and lean out for the appropriate audio leveling. It wasn't digitalized. It was just recorded live as it was, and the best take was the one that they went with. Yeah. So that's like,
that's how obviously originally music, before recorded music, before you had gramophones, basically, you know, that's what people would do. They'd play live. Then obviously they would be recorded completely live, and even, you know, I think the Beatles' first album they recorded in one sitting, if I'm correct. I might not be, but I think that they recorded that just all through the day and night, and they just took loads of takes at things, but it was live. And that's why I think John Lennon's voice is completely knackered on one of the songs by the end of it, because he'd just been up all night, and that was the album done. And people used to do that, and that was the way they recorded things. And I think so that was another illusion I was under, and I think that illusion was another one that died for me when I started playing guitar myself. When I got injured and couldn't skate anymore for a period of time, I was like, well, I need to have something to work at and focus on. So I started playing guitar. I just said to my mate who didn't skate, I was like, what do normal people do? What do you do with your time?
Question a million times.
I was like, what do you do? And he listed a load of things, and one of the things he listed was playing guitar, and I've obviously always liked music, so I was like, oh, okay, I'll have a go at that. So I started playing guitar. And and I think the illusion came when I went to a guitar teacher. I taught myself for a year, but then went to a guitar teacher, and he said, yeah, forget everything you've done so far and start again. But yeah, he was like, right, let's start by learning the lead to a song. And so he gave me, which was ridiculous looking back, high expectations from him, but he gave me a Cream song, you know, Clapton. And then he was saying, and then I got the proper tab book for it, for the lead, and I was like, why is there 5 guitars in here? And he's like, well, because in the, you know, and the only guitarist was Clapton, I think. And he was like, well, because, and I just so ignorant at that point. But he was like, well, no, they would have just overdubbed it. So Clapton would have played all these parts, but it would have just been overdubbed. So it's not actually possible for you to play this because it's 5 different parts. So you have to just merge it into one part. And then and after that, I was just like, well, that just feels, it's a really fine line, but to me, it just felt like fake, really. And I was like, I always sort of naively imagined that people got in a room and played, and it was kind of an event. I think of it almost like, and same as skateboarding, it's almost like, you know, kind of like journalism, you know, and being a journalist is to try and tell the truth as best as possible. So skate photography is photojournalism, you know, that's what it is, I think. And you're supposed to be telling the truth as closely as you possibly can. Yeah. And it's such a slippery slope, and it is a slippery slope because, and again, the illusion with skateboard photography died for me. I went to SF, and just people were pointing to all these. Well, I was pointing to all these things and saying, "Oh, do you remember that? That was this cover or whatever." Didn't land it. You know, so much stuff just wasn't landed. And I was just like, and I was like, oh my God, you know, people are just using things. And it goes from, it's a slippery slope, same as music's a slippery slope, that you think, oh, we'll just maybe add a bit of reverb or whatever, you know, really mild stuff, like we'll just add reverb to make it sound like it was in a different kind of room, to ending up where, I mean, there's, if the story is correct, with Kirsty MacColl and Shane MacGowan, I don't think they were ever in a room together and recorded that duet together, whether that's true or not. But that's the sort of thing that happened, that I think the Beatles, even by the end, couldn't be in a room together. So they never played the songs together, you know, and yet we're on a song together because it's such a slippery slope. But with skateboarding, it's a slippery slope that you say, oh, well, it doesn't have to be the actual one they landed, to, oh, well, you can land it a different day if you want, to, oh, well, don't worry about it. We'll just put it out there anyway, and you've never even landed it, and it's just, it's just not really.
I think it's happened quite a lot over the years, isn't it?
Well,
there's been a lot of
it's happened to me, and it, and I became I didn't want to take pictures with people anymore because they didn't really have integrity around that stuff.
Yeah.
And I just thought, I'm gonna have unlanded, a few unlanded things popped up, and worst one being a cover.
Which cover was that?
Sidewalk cover.
Doing
Which one? She had 2, didn't you?
Yeah, Switch K.
The switch crook long shot down.
Yeah.
With did it say big 20 on it? Was it like 20?
Yeah, and that sucked because we went there and I did a load of switch, I did I think a couple of switch nose slides down it, and that was fine. And then I was like, right, and that was the plan. And then I was like, right, I'll do a switch K down it, and got on it, landed on it, and fell off. And when we got the boot, security came out, kicked us off. And obviously, I don't think Wig understood the nuance. You know what I mean? I don't know. I think he genuinely didn't understand that I hadn't done the switch K. He was obviously, I think he was off away. I just don't think he understood that I hadn't done that I'd done the switch nose slide. I'm really not sure. I spoke to him about it, but yeah, I just don't think he got the nuance between the switch K and the nose slide. And it was such a good photo, and it was a cover. And then it was just awful because they obviously said, you stoked on your cover. I was like, I didn't land it.
Yeah.
Didn't land it. I kept trying to go back, and you just get kicked off. Couldn't do it. Couldn't go back.
There's the cover of Penny doing the frontside blunt slide.
Yeah, that's a good example.
Yeah, that was never landed, was it?
And
that was Thrasher, wasn't it?
Transworld.
Yeah,
and I watched there was a video about that, wasn't there, recently? Someone talking about that, the photographer and everyone and the way they were talking about it. Yeah, they were talking about it, and that one was obvious, just being Penny, that he could have easily done it, tried it, and then he doesn't seem to care if someone takes a photo, if they don't take a photo or anything. He just seems completely almost oblivious of that, and he just skated off without probably saying anything, just nearly landed it and then just skated off. And so they knew he wasn't, hadn't done it. It wasn't, I think with Wig, like he didn't know I hadn't done that. And I think was completely innocent. He seemed completely surprised when I said I hadn't landed it. He was like, what do you mean? You did it twice or whatever, I think he genuinely didn't understand the nuance.
He thought the nose slide was the switch crook, I guess.
Because, with Wig, as far as skating goes, Wig's, he's mostly been a photographer. He's always skated around, but he's never been banging to learning tricks and whatever else. He can pop up a curb and things like that. But yeah, probably a lot of nuance. He's seen a lot of skateboarding as well. But yeah, bits of nuance might get missed if you haven't been like yourself doing that stuff. But yeah, with that one, it was just a bit of a hope that Penny might, and someone like Penny, he's not your Jeff Rowley who's going to come back and get that done no matter what. He's not. He's someone that doesn't care if it gets done again or not.
Yeah.
He may do it again, but if he happens to be in the mood and happens to be skating past, he'll do it. But they put that out there, and I think that, that's the slippery slope, and that's well over the line,
I think Shipman spoke about his front blunt at Hubba Hideout as well, right? Did he say on his episode about not landing that?
It's a long time ago.
Maybe I won't put it in because I can't remember if he did or didn't. Well, I'm sure he did in his episode. You were like, not a land. It was
maybe he did. Yeah,
I remember him saying that, and he was just like, I don't think he was particularly stoked about it.
I reckon it's probably caused a lot of tension between skaters and photographers.
Well, I ended up that I couldn't, and I really liked them as people, but I didn't want to go out and shoot photos because no one had that. It's not, just no one had that. I've heard of people, like you say, someone having that hard line with it, but very few people do. No one that I took photos with did have that hard line. No, we used the one you landed and landed properly, and we're just not. We may well really, really want this, but if it hasn't happened, it's photojournalism. It hasn't happened. No one had that sort of a hard line on it, you know. And I got to the point where I was paranoid that if I didn't do it, it was going to get used anyway, and then I'd feel inauthentic, really, you know. So that would stress me out, because then I felt like I had to do it. If I started doing something, I had to do it because it would get used anyway. So I just didn't want to take photos. And I remember Dan MaGee saying, you know, I just didn't want to take photos. And he's like, you need to take photos. You're a sponsored skateboarder. You need to take them. And I just didn't want
Especially
it.
at that time as well.
Yeah, that was all
really
social media.
And that was all I had. I just didn't have the tools back then to put that into words and explain it to people.
To process and
I couldn't just explain it to people. Like, I could have explained that to her. I could have just said to a photographer, look, this is my thing. It has to be the one I land.
The land.
It has to be. That's important to me. I couldn't just say that. I couldn't bring myself to say that, you know, and that's ridiculous. But
because you didn't want to upset them?
Didn't want to upset them. I'm the same now, you know. I'm older and wiser, and I understand what's wrong with me, and and what's upsetting me, and I can actually tell people. You know what I mean? But back then, I just didn't want to be. I don't know, just didn't want to sort of upset them or whatever. So I couldn't just say a simple thing like that, just saying, look, can we only use the one you land? But to most people, I've talked to people about music, about the music thing in depth, and they can understand it on an intellectual level, but very rarely do people go, yeah, you're right, and I can't listen to that anymore either. It's my brain. They can't. They can understand what I'm talking about. Yeah, it's fake music. It's not real music. It hasn't happened. It's all the drummer's recorded their bit on one day with some headphones on, guitarist another day, the singer's come in with some headphones and recorded it. It's not a real thing. It's been put together afterwards, and then a load of strings and an orchestra's been put on, and even people now you sing over laptops and whatever, and doing their so-called live performances, so in my brain I can't deal with that level of things being artificial. For other people, they can suspend disbelief, and they like fiction, and they can enjoy fiction even though knowing it's fiction. I find it really difficult, even watching films and things. If I recognise an actor, I think we tried to watch Band of Brothers, and they'd cast Ross from Friends as the drill instructor. And I'm watching, I'm just like, I'm watching Ross from Friends. I couldn't suspend disbelief. I was like, I want to watch this, but I can't. It's Ross from Friends.
It's like when I watch a film and Harry Potter's in it.
Exactly.
And I'm like, I can't break that.
No, I can't. And that's...
The only actor that's broke that chain for me was fucking Malcolm in the Middle's dad in Breaking Bad. I remember first watching that and being like, I can't watch this. But then as I watched it, I was like, oh, that's
I have a different threshold where suspending disbelief is really difficult for me. And obviously every actor can't just do one thing and then retire. They need to work. So they need, so you do have the same actors in things. But for me, I can't get into fiction unless I don't recognise any of the people. As soon as I do, it really breaks it for me, and I really struggle with fiction. I think I can deal with fiction if there is some sort of a kind of an important message within the story, you know what I mean? Because then that's what I'm focused on, rather than the story itself. Actually enjoying the story just for the story is difficult for me, because I can't immerse myself. But if there's an important backstory to it, something like Animal Farm is a good example of that, where, it's either the book or the cartoon, it's a load of talking animals, but because there's an important backstory within it, I can enjoy that, But it's that authenticity that, and I think it's the same with skating and music. Yeah, and people can intellectually understand it. People can intellectually understand that looking at a photo of someone doing a trick they haven't landed at all, it is just a star jump. They've just done 50% of the trick and just star jumped, is not real, but they can still look at that and enjoy that image. And for me, it's more difficult. I have to just have the real thing, It's it's just sort of more realism, sort of, you know. And I think it's just having those experiences as well with the sort of, you know, with the unlanded cover and stuff like that, and the sort of embarrassment of and not being stoked. And I had to tell people as well, you know, and obviously Shipman had to tell people, you know, he obviously felt he couldn't just go, you know, when someone says, oh, that's a sick photo, he couldn't just go, yeah, it is. Yeah. And when people said to me, that's a sick cover, I couldn't just go, yeah, cheers. I had to go, it wasn't landed straight away. Yeah. I didn't land it. And this is what happened, you know. Yeah.
So what about where is it, the Long 50 in the tunnel in London? How was that? How was shooting that? Was that a kind of like going back over a couple of days, or was that just like smashed out? Because you start from the top of the tunnel all the way down to the bottom, slide into the wall, don't you? And there's a photo of that shot from behind in black and white, I think.
No, it was colour. But yeah, that was 2 days, yeah.
Was it a contents page photo?
Yeah.
I seem to think it was. Cause the
double page, wasn't it?
Yeah. In a sidewalk, right? Was it?
Yeah. So I think I was in the same clothes and everything, probably just because I just didn't have any money, and I just had the same, probably just wore the same clothes all the time, to be fair, but don't think it was a conscious thing. And I think we went back and did it for a photo quite shortly afterwards, but...
Because it was filmed follow along fisheye, wasn't it?
Yeah. Well, again, you know, people didn't have cameras. That was obviously high 8, but...
Who filmed that?
Mark Channer, because... they were doing playing fields, or they'd done playing fields. Yeah. So that got in at the, you know, very last minute. They'd already edited the whole thing. So that's why it got chucked on the contents bit. But yeah, we were just hanging about there, and I don't know, we just put our boards on and realised it perfectly slots into the rail, and you know, I had an ollie that could get on there. Obviously it goes from low and high tides, that goes up and down, so you get different steepnesses, and obviously with that you get a different height to get onto, you know. So as you're doing it, it's getting steeper and steeper, you know, the longer you're taking, or getting shallower and shallower, getting higher to ollie onto, or getting steeper and faster. I didn't realise it was all... Yeah, longer you take, it's getting faster and faster and faster, but easier to get onto, or, you know, depending on what the tide's doing, because it's just a floating pier.
Yeah.
So it's really, so, you know, I like I like that one because it's interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, it's very, because I wouldn't have known that just looking at that photo or the footage. So it's good to hear that.
Yeah, it's a really interesting, and there was in its, you know, I think that clip, again, the sort of aesthetics of it. I love the way there's fishermen at the bottom, because obviously people fished off the bottom there. You know, it was really just a pier for pleasure boats, I think, really, mostly.
Yeah.
But yeah, people fished off the end, and when I land, you see all these fishermen jump out the way, you know.
Yeah.
And you know, and they were all stoked and everything as well, you know. And it was, I think it was just quite a good memory, you know. And I think the memory is tied into footage. You know, you can battle something and whatever, and get, you know, upset and whatever else, and get it done, and, you know, and have a horrible time, but then that's the memory tied in with the thing you're doing, isn't it? You know, it's like looking at a family photo where you've all had a horrible argument or a horrible day out, and then you've all smiled for the camera, and you're going to look at that photo. You're not going to put it on your mantelpiece, because you're going to always know that was a horrible day, even if you're smiling, you know what I mean? And I think it's really important. And I think with that clip, to me, it's just a good clip, because it's just, it wasn't horrible to do. I was with a load of people that were just, enthusiastic. It was a nice crew. Channer was just, you know, it was just spontaneous as well.
Yeah.
I think Channer turned up, and back then no one really had cameras much, but Channer had it, one, because of the expense of it, but also it just wasn't much of a thing. It wasn't that important. You know, I suppose because of the difficulty of actually getting the footage out there and seen anyway, you couldn't get that instant gratification from Instagram or whatever. So, you know, people would film things, and either you'd never see it again, or it wouldn't come out on anything for a long time.
I think that's another thing these days. It's a lot easier to get your hands actually on the footage. Like, where obviously back then it was on the camera, and it was on the camera till that person took it home and did.
Well, Channer took it home and was actually sick on that tape, so luckily he got really drunk and was sick on the tape. But no,
Channer did.
Channer, he got it into playing fields before he was sick on it, at least. So they got it in there, and then Manzoori hit him up because that was when 4-on-1 was still using high 8.
Yeah.
So he hit Channer up and said, "Oh, I want to use that for his Wheels of Fortune. Have you got the tape?" And Channer got really drunk and was sick on the tape.
Ideal.
So me and Manzoori went back there to try to film it. And I don't know, I think it was soaking wet and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It just didn't, for whatever reason, didn't happen. Anyway, for whatever, I think Mike had to go somewhere after that. I think he moved to Bristol after that, so it just didn't happen filming it again. So we didn't get the footage back. But
I wanted to ask a bit more about Channer and Manzoori and skating with those guys.
yeah,
I've always been like a massive fan of Channer. I remember turning up to St Albans and he'd just be sat in the corner and he had a packed lunch.
Yeah.
And he'd open his sandwich and he was putting hula hoops in his sandwich.
Exactly.
And he sat there like just being Channer.
Yeah.
That was but
he was wise beyond his years, because that just shows wisdom and self-awareness and, a strength in your personality, that you're just going to sit there and, and eat your packed lunch in that way and not care if anyone thinks that's cool or not. And that's just exactly what he is like, is just, and it is like, I mean, I don't know if he still skates anymore, but I'm sure he's
Does he live in Japan now? That's what I'm sure I heard he was out there.
I think I mentioned about getting him on someone and they were like, "Oh, you're going to have to go to Japan." I'm sure I heard the same thing.
But he was wise and he was he was a little bit older than me, but just older in terms of how grounded he was and things like that. He wouldn't do things that he didn't want to do, and so many times he just told me just wise things, just tried to get through to me. I mean, I remember being at St Paul's and just trying some roulette trick, just some tech trick. And he just said to me, sometimes it could come across as quite blunt and rude, but he was just like, "I just don't know why you'd do that. Why would you do that?" He's like, "You're going to land that once. You're trying it for an hour or something. You're going to land it once. You're never going to do it again." He's just like, "Why are you doing that?" He's just like, and he just said, "I just do things that I can do every go or most goes." He says, "That feels nice. And you can do it power." I can't remember verbatim what he said, but he just tried to talk some sense into me. It's just like, just do things that feel good, do it with power, and then you can do it with style and do it multiple times rather than trying to do this hit and, because he could tell I was just trying to do something that was unnatural, and it probably repulsed him. It's probably like, "Stop it. This isn't you. Stop doing it. You're not Dave Mayhew. Just stop." He
had a good fakey hill, didn't he, Channer?
Yeah. Yeah,
really good. He had loads of tricks that were really good,
but he was sort of unambitious, in terms of, he cared about his own skating, but he wasn't, he went to America and got some clips there, and he could have, with his ability and everything, he could have done all that stuff. He could have done it as kind of a career, but he was not ambitious in that way. I think he just wanted to skate well and things like that and do what he enjoyed. But then that's just being grounded and being happy with who you are and everything like that, and not needing that, sort of stuff. So yeah, he was quite a good influence, and definitely lots of words of wisdom from him. And obviously, Mike as well was a fountain of wisdom and things like that and knowledge.
There's those rare occurrences where someone's good at everything, and he was fucking good at skating and fucking good at filming as well.
Yeah,
it's like he's got both of the key things that I'd want. But
and kind of the putting things together, like the art and stuff like that as well. The video editing type of thing. He kind of knew what looked good, I mean, that sheep video, I always absolutely loved that. I'm pretty sure that he edited that, didn't he?
I think so, yeah, he did.
I think so.
He did Sound and Vision, didn't he? He's like independent one.
Yeah.
And then started travelling more.
Yeah, I sort of met him and filmed with him at a really difficult time in his life, because he had a really bad back injury that he couldn't really skate. So he was, and it was really bad. He was just in pain all the time. And he was here, and there's, making a living here off skateboarding was next to impossible, really. You know, and he was toying with the idea at one point a bit, you know, he's looking at regular sort of jobs, really, you know, here as a underground train driver and things like this. I remember he's looking at. It was just a really difficult time for him, and he was trying to obviously make it work by doing stuff for 411, but then here you're just up against it, you know.
Yeah.
Like the weather and everything like that through winter is just absolutely impossible. I went to Bristol to, you know, because we tried to obviously film a load of stuff. Went to Bristol and it just rained I was there for 3 weeks in total, I think. And it rained, it hammered it down every single day for those. And we got a couple of breaks, which is the only footage we got in Bristol.
Yeah.
A couple of days. And it was just
dire,
soul destroying for both of us. And, you know, I think he just felt completely without direction. Like, what am I supposed to be doing, you know? And his other half was working, you know, and then he was kind of not working because he couldn't work, you know, he couldn't. And it's right that he shouldn't be an underground driver. Nothing wrong with being an underground train driver. But when you've got that much talent and creative stuff to give, you shouldn't be driving an underground train. You should be doing that, which he did. Thank God he moved to America and did that
and smashed it.
Where there's an opportunity, because and I could see the struggle he was having then. You know, it was really difficult. And I mean, that trip was, we got mugged in a way. I was trying to do, so that was the end of the trip. It had rained for about 3 weeks.
And then to top it off, a casual little mugging. And
then I was doing this thing I was doing this weird thing where there's a bank and then there's a really, really skinny vertical sort of metal fence thing. Loads, you know. And I was trying to ollie through this gap, so I had to do this weird. I'd done it the day before. I think we had taken a photo. You had to do this weird ollie where you had to ollie.
Torque your body.
One like that. So I'd put my coat down on the floor and Mike had put his camera bag down. He'd put it down, and then we just saw this gang of youths coming across to our side of the road from the dual carriageway. And he had his camera bag on the floor, so he saw them coming across and he said, "Oh, they look sketchy, you know." So he put his bag on, thank God. He had his had his VX or whatever, and we didn't see this sort of side door. And I just remember ollieing through this thing and just this gang just bursting out of this door, running at Mike, one of them grabbing his backpack, Mike just trying to run with his camera like that, you know, and I just ran towards Mike, picked up my board and ran towards Mike and hit one of them on the hand with my board, and that basically meant Mike could get away. So the guy lost his grip, and then we both ran. Mike just ran across it's sort of I think it's dual or 3 carriageways maybe in Bristol. So there's one lot, then a central reservation, then another lot, and he just ran without looking straight across there, made it to the central reservation, and then cars came, so the guys couldn't get to him to mug him for his camera. He had a few seconds, and then when they couldn't get to him, they looked at me and started coming after me. So then I ran across as well. And then when they couldn't get me, they turned back to Mike and went after him. And then he just didn't look, and he just ran right in front of a car doing God knows how fast, and it nearly killed him, you know, just straight in front of a car.
Fucking hell.
And it just screeched like that, and he ran across, and I don't know, we just legged it and got away. But my coat was on the floor, had my wallet, bank card, you know, with bank card and any money I had in it. So I was just in Bristol. I think luckily I must have had my keys on me, thankfully, so I could actually get home. But yeah, they had to lend me money to get back, you know, but it's just pretty traumatic.
Yeah, I could imagine.
So we were sort of done after that, and, you know, but skateboarding, it was so hard. I mean, it's hard now in the winter. I don't even tend to skate really in the winter.
How often are you skating now?
Well, probably the reason I kind of let everything go, well, I didn't let it go, but the reason I didn't carry on skating back in the day, probably about 2000 and 2 or 3, I think maybe, was because I got really bad groin strain. And just wouldn't go. And I skated switch for about a year because I couldn't push because it was so painful, and I carried on skating switch, and then one day it just got so bad that it was when I I did a board slide, and it hurt when I popped, hurt when I landed on the rail, then hurt when I landed, and it was like a lightning bolt in your groin, just so bloody painful. So I thought, I'll just not skate for a while and see if it heals. It just didn't heal. So that's when that kind of started, those problems. And I've had it alternate. I've tried everything, I've tried physio and chiropractors and everything. And that took 3 years to heal. And then I did get an osteopath who seemed to sort it for quite a while. But for some reason, I've just got this weakness in my groin, and that just comes back. And I had it yesterday. It came back, not full on, but it came back hurting again. And so anyway, I think for the last couple of years, I've had it in my front leg, because we have a front leg and a hind leg, don't we? But I had it in my front leg. And I had that for about 2 years non-stop. So I skated. I think I started skating again. I thought, I'd kind of, just resign myself. This is never going away, But then I was like, oh, actually, I haven't felt that for a couple of months now. Over the winter, I just thought, I haven't felt that. So then I've started trying to skate again now. Funny thing is, I don't think it's even, I think it's something that I've caused through skating, because we're just constantly doing those kicking motions, So it's a bit of a no-brainer that you're just constantly straining that tendon or whatever it is. But it's been gone for a little while. So if I'm skating now, if I'm able to skate, then once a week really would be the maximum, really. I this is another thing as well, moderation, and I didn't have moderation back in the day. I'd skate every single day. And then wonder why you were just tired and angry, and it's like, well, you're driving yourself psychologically mad, but you're just tired as well. And I didn't really understand. I didn't sort of have a mentor, other than the wise words that sort of people like Channer said to me. I didn't really have people, because a lot of us are just in the same boat. You're just in your 20s or whatever, and there's not a lot of wisdom, and you didn't really have someone there to say, stop that, mate.
Rest,
have a day off, mate. Maybe get another hobby, do something else.
But skateboarders, inherently are very focused on skateboarding. So as soon as you find it, that's your hyper focus,
and you want to do it.
Mind.
You want to do it. The thing you love, you want to do all that. I just replaced, because I was like that. I did the same with guitar, and ruin that for myself for a while, because I was just like, I love this thing, and then I've got to do it all the time, and you just ruin it. You ruin it for yourself. You need to just have balance in your life. Now, as you get older, you naturally end up with balance. Either you're working, you got, a kid, or you got another half. You just naturally end up with balance. But I think when you're, back then, wasn't working a lot of the time. I didn't have any other hobbies. I didn't have friends really outside of skateboarding for a lot of it.
Skating every day. All day.
You just skate every day. I would get up and I'd go out. When I lived in London, you get up, you go out, and you'd be out, and you wouldn't come back till night time, and you would have been skating. It's 8 hours plus non-stop skateboarding.
Yeah. It's a full
minimum, and that was actual, not just getting to places. That was actually skateboarding. I was doing like bloody 8 hours a day, and then you'd get an injury, and I'd just keep going on the injury,
skate through it.
Yeah, well, and I just had certain injuries. I had really horrendous something I'd done to my back, and I just kept going on it, and I was just in so much pain, but I just didn't know what to do with myself if I wasn't skating. And I remember tearing a muscle in my stomach, and just keeping going on it, and just trying to adapt. Just like, I'll just push switch for a year then.
Yeah.
You can't just push switch for a year. That's not the way to heal things, just trying to adapt the way, I remember skating Southbank stairs and I'd injured so many parts of my body that I ended up having to use sort of my back and shoulder and face as a brake because I couldn't use my hands or elbows or hips. I was having to just sort of land and then just use that as a brake.
Yeah.
Use your face as a brake because you've run out of places that don't hurt.
There's a quote. I think it's from filming, so I'm goofy for it because I've filmed for years. I've noticed now if I skate for a day, like the week later, it's like this toe down to the ball joint in the middle just seems like repetitive strain injury that just lasts for fucking like a week or two after. And it's fine now, but if we skate outside, this whole area will just swell up slightly. And I think it's from pushing and stopping on that ball of my foot over and over again.
What do you think, filming?
I think we're filming, yeah, because it's just constantly pushing
keep
for
on going.
8, 9, 10 hours.
The filmer's claw from holding a camera, and you just end up with this sweaty red claw.
The stiffness in the wrist and the
filmer's
hand.
claw. Yeah. Also the filmer's hunchback.
Yeah.
Ways like that. I've still got that.
The filmer ages 15 times quicker than anyone else. Toby, hang on a minute, mate. We need to talk about this episode's sponsor. Toby, take it away.
Today's sponsor is Slappy Trucks, straight out of the brain box of Mike Sinclair.
Slappy trucks have a wide range from your classics, hollows and lowest ever inverted kingpin and the widest trucks on the market.
I've been rocking the ultra low inverted kingpin trucks for a while now and they're super good, no braking time, no hang-ups and they grind super good.
Not only that, they have incredible colourways and collaborations with people like Bam Margera, my favourite, and one of the most popular selling trucks, the Curb Killer, Ira.
They've got an incredible team with a bunch of legends like Leo Romero, Ryan Sheckler, Lily Strachan, Braden Hoban and Cordano Russell.
And you can check out the full range of Slappy trucks right now at rollersnakes.co.uk. Back to the show. We kind of went back and forth over a load of subjects, which is fucking rad. But what I want to talk about is filming for a video called Tough Guys, and then you had an article called Playing with Fire in Sidewalk issue 3. Is that when doors started to open up? We're going into being sponsored, or was stuff happening before that?
Not really for me, I don't think. But
what was the timeline?
I was pretty bad in Tough Guys, I think. To be fair, I don't think there's much in there that holds up. But what was the one before it? So Tough Guys, there was
Grow Up, X Rental.
Yeah, they were after.
Okay.
There was one before Tough Guys, but anyway, no. I mean, I think that was really that video. Frank had the camera. He got the camera for really primarily Frank Stevens. Yeah, I think that was kind of a bit of a sponsor me video, I think, for Frank, primarily, and then his mates kind of had parts as well. He often did that. There was videos before that he.
And what scene was that in mainly? Was that
Ipswich, yeah.
Ipswich scene, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he saved up. He worked in Blockbuster, I think, and saved up, bought a camera, and ever since I'd met him, he'd been filming. And it was, I think with a view to progress in skateboard and get a sponsor and things like that. And so I think really that was kind of a sponsor me video, but yeah, people had parts, and.
Because Frank was very workhorse, wasn't he?
Yeah. And so I think, and that's nothing wrong with that as a motivation. You definitely wanted to sort of showcase his skating and progress, which is fine. I had some bits in there, but I definitely wasn't very, very good at that point. But you can see, though, we watched it recently because there was an event in Ipswich, just kind of it was a
retrospective thing.
Yeah, retrospective type thing. Really. It was primarily photos, but or
was it like a highlight of Ipswich skateboarding?
It was for the Ipswich archives. So into the archives, they just wanted to document skateboarding over the years. So I had some pictures that I'd taken in that.
Mm-hmm.
A few of other that I'd taken of other people in that. They just go into the archives permanently. But part of that, obviously, they had a night. And they've got a cinema screen there, so they screened Tough Guys.
Mm-hmm.
And I haven't seen it for a long, long time, so I was bracing myself. Oh, the one before was called Kaboom.
Okay.
Yeah. And so I was bracing myself for it, just like, oh my God, because it's, it's long. I mean, what was I, probably 17 or something like that. So, but actually, I could see that, although, yes, I was you know, it was a bit rough, sketchy and things. I could see that I was trying as hard as I could at the time, you know what I mean? It was like some sketchy stuff. I wouldn't really stand by the way I'd done it, but I still thought, you know, I was at the maximum sort of capacity of what I could do, you know what I mean?
I think it's really good with those like scene videos, like if you're lucky enough to have a camera for a long time to look back on stuff like that. Like I can't remember how I found it now. I was an old SVHS. No, not SVHS, VHS-C. You know, you had to put them inside the VHS thing. Tape with me, and I was probably like 11 or something, because we used to have a video camera that we borrowed. Mm. And it's good that you can look back on what you were doing, like, well, most ago.
Normal civilians didn't really have video cameras. It was skateboarders obviously got them. And not a lot of other, if you want to, I don't like calling skateboarding a sport, but not many other activities filmed themselves, did they? You know, so
I was just about to say, I read an article last week where someone said skateboarding is potentially one of the original like self-filmed sports. Yeah, you'd say the first people to actually film, not on a professional level like footy and stuff on TV, like the first people to actually start that kind of I guess like social kind of thing.
Home video type skateboarding.
I think it's just part of the DIY side of skateboarding, isn't it? That people were just like, well, we'll just get cameras and just
do it ourselves.
Film shit ourselves.
And it was really, I mean, that buzz and that excitement around it was just, you know, you miss that because you don't, you know, I really missed that. I think that died after that period in Ipswich. I think that really just, that buzz of excitement, definitely, you know, I think around the Blueprint videos, I think that there was that bit of that buzz, actually. Yeah, sure. But yeah, that buzz around that time, and when obviously Frank was the standout person in that video. I think really it was the sort of backside flip down Liverpool Street doubles, which was pretty mind-blowing at the time. Yeah. So that obviously got Ben Powell, I think, saw that, came down, you know, and then Sidewalk visiting, it was just, you know, for us, it was just beyond belief, you know what I mean? And we all, you know, everyone just descended on Ipswich for a day and tried to get a photo, you know. Mm-hmm. And so obviously Frank got hooked up from that with some people, and can't remember who. And so I think Ben Rodriguez did as well.
Yeah, he was so good, wasn't
he? Yeah.
Is he still skating?
No, not really, no. He kind of had a little comeback a few years back, broke his wrist. So I don't know. I saw him at that that event, and tried to talk him into it, but I don't know. It maybe goes out just for fun, but thing is, you know, skateboarding, you don't really have to sign up for anything and do it every day, do you? If you're a skateboarder, you kind of always are, and if you just now and again you go out and skate, you're kind of always a skateboarder. Yeah. I mean, I've been injured for 2 years, but I didn't stop being a skateboarder. It just, you know, you kind of always are. Yeah. I was still rubbernecking benches and angled banks, even though I can't even skate, still just looking at inanimate objects.
Taking photos of objects in the street.
Yeah, just really weird, just taking pictures of things. And
your missus is taking a picture of like Arc de Triomphe in Spain, and you're taking a photo of a little bank on the floor.
Yeah, exactly. So you don't sort of stop being a skateboarder. But yeah, I mean, Rodriguez was just very talented.
Yeah.
You know, it's just mind blowing, you know, back then.
Yeah, I mean, Playing Fields, that video with him and Frank.
Comes up a lot, Playing Fields.
Fucking hell, it's so good.
I'd say Playing Fields, though, I think Rodriguez was a little bit more checked out then.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
It didn't come across like
No, if you watch the Tough Guys part, that's kind of, I think...
his peak?
Yeah, definitely. Maybe? And then I think he got sponsored. I think he got a girlfriend as well at that point, you know, a serious kind of girlfriend I think he lived with. And I definitely felt his enthusiasm and things drop off a little bit. So actually, I look at it differently to you look at it. But yeah, I look at Playing Fields and I think, no, that's him kind of on his a bit more checked out than he was, you know what I mean? Because I think, I just loved his enthusiasm back in Tough Guys, and maybe a bit of disillusionment or whatever set in.
So did that, from that Tough Guys video, what came after that? How did the Sidewalk article come about, the Playing with Fire article?
Yeah, so I think that was just because of Frank. Obviously, they printed a video grabbing magazine.
Over the backside flip. Yeah, I remember that.
Just did a video grab and then came down, I think, really primarily to see Frank, you know, and then we all sort of tagged along. So, yeah.
So was that Playing with Fire article, the Ipswich scene, was it like a collaborative, collective article, or was it mainly based on Frank with like some friends?
I think it was about the Ipswich scene, yeah.
Yeah. Because they did used to do a lot of kind of scene report kind of things.
Yeah, I think it was about Ipswich, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Really.
Ben Powell was always really good with that. You know, there was certain areas of the country that hadn't really had that much coverage before.
He seeked out a lot of good stuff.
And he really, you know, he went to sort of the arse end of nowhere.
But he's sort of more inclusive rather than elitist.
Exactly.
And I think back then, again, it's just being older and wiser, but I think back then I felt that things should be more elitist than inclusive. And I used to feel like that. I used to think, no, it's kind of these things are things you should earn. You know what I mean? And I don't believe that now. I just believe that if things look good, that's the criteria at the end of the day. But it's being young. I was young, and you know, when you're young, you're just kind of competitive, and
it's just also how it was as well, wasn't it? It's like everyone had to fight to be in the magazines.
Yeah, and it felt right that it should be. Yeah, that you know that was kind of the reward for hard work and a fight. But Ben Powell's, I felt, mentality has always been inclusive, and it's like, no, you 100%. Are part of it, no matter how well you can skate or whatever. You are part of the scene. And that's absolutely right. Like you are. Of course you are. You can't say to someone you're not a skateboarder just because they choose to just ride a board, cruise, whatever. He's still a skateboarder. You know, and I think you know, nowadays I don't like, you know, kind of the elitism part.
Do you think that you've got like that? You've changed to be more sort of open-minded just as you got older, and
it's just getting older and wiser. And I didn't even used to think about aesthetics as such. I just thought about what good tricks people had done. You know, I remember sort of the old Plan B videos, and my mates were really into Mike Carroll, and I was just like, you know, I couldn't get it compared. You know, I was like, no, you know, it's Pat Duffy or whatever. I didn't really understand. They were in, you know, when people were more into girl and chocolate and whatever, and I couldn't get that. I was all Toy Machine, and you know what I mean. I just kind of didn't really even understand about style and things as such. You know, didn't really get that. It was I was quite elitist, I suppose, in that way.
I just remember jump off a building, like years and years ago when I was a kid, and just being like, Bam Margera in that video is the fucking shit. Like the checkered plaid kind of shirts and the baggy trousers.
Yeah.
It just looked...
It was just such a good part in the way the music was and everything as well.
That whole video, just everyone looks sick in it. Like Mike Mardonado looks amazing. Templeton looks amazing.
But is it us looking back like rose-tinted
like a
glasses?
Kid's going to look back on this era now in 30 years. And
I don't see any... There's not... I don't know. I sound like such an old cunt, but...
Well, maybe there's too much coming out now that you can't focus on.
That's exactly it. Yeah, you couldn't really have you couldn't, because they were sort of, those people were kind of icons. They were, you know, they were, like you say, you could just kind of identify them by their silhouette and the way they dressed. And because you saw those same people all the time, they're kind of reinforced. And I think now it's so oversaturated. You haven't really got those kind of iconic people, I don't think, in the same way that you did, you know? Yeah. Rather than having a handful of pros like you used to have, 80s or whatever, you had a handful of pros. You know, you think how sort of iconic someone like Natus is, it's just beyond words, or Hensley, you know, so iconic. They would just be lost in the mix now.
And it's so interesting though, isn't it? Because you look at Hensley and Natus, 2-3 video parts kind of thing, you'll still say that to this day. You'll like look back on it being super iconic, and then you got dudes now that like a video part a year for 15 years, but some reason it doesn't feel the same as...
I mean, things like magazines, you wouldn't Instagram, you look at everything, probably look at it once, a photo.
Straight by it.
Magazines, you'd look at over and over and over and over again, and then you'd put them on your wall. I mean, my walls are completely covered.
Same with mine.
So you'd have an image of Matt Hensley with, you know, his cheeks just blown out, like that was his thing, wasn't it? You know, and it was just so, you could just, you could tell it was him and it was his style, and it just became really implanted in your mind as an iconic image, just him skating, and you just don't have that now.
Yeah, it seems like there used to be so many more kind of recognisable characters in skating as well. It just doesn't seem to be that anymore, does it?
The video,
a bit dry.
The video part that always stuck out to me as well was, you remember Risk It, Gambling with Gravity? Yeah, what that? Just that Tim Jackson part. Yeah. Where he's like riding all the walls. Like one video part of his entire skateboarding life.
Yeah.
And I still think about that. Like, I'll sometimes see a wall and I'm like, oh, you could fucking pendulum swing on that. It's insane.
But those video parts were almost like a live performance. It was more real because
like on the day.
On the day.
Get it done.
And it felt way more real that that's really who they were. Because it's a slippery slope and a fine line between when someone, it's in one way, it's amazing that people will try things thousands and thousands of times and drive back to the same spot day after day after day or whatever and drive all these miles to it. That's amazing because you respect their, tenacity. But at the same time, that line can also go the other way where it's kind of artificial because you're seeing a clip and it looks like it's landed first go. So it's sort of, on the one hand, it's good because we admire people, with tenacity and things with skating, but also doesn't feel very real. Whereas something like, I think, Eastern Exposure 3, that video, I think, really
feels true to
because it just feels like people didn't have that many goes at the tricks, and it felt spontaneous and real. It
even goes back to like where it's filmed. I was recently watching Bobby Pulio's Epically Lated, and obviously he was on an Enjoy and they were on like the West Coast, super sunny, and they wanted him to film a part out there, and he was like, no, because my authentic self is in New York and New Jersey. I'm not going, and he quit. He was like, I'm not going to go there to film a part because that's not how I skate and how I want to be represented. It needs to be here.
I always forget he was on Enjoy.
Same like Anthony Popolado in Fully Flared. He did not want to leave like his home city. He didn't want to leave New York to do it because it just wouldn't be what he would skate.
Yeah.
So it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. I mean, some people managed to make that transition quite well. I suppose Tim O'Connor, Reese Forbes, they're all East Coasters, weren't they, to start with?
I think Huff as well. Was Huff East Coast?
Yep.
Yeah.
And they managed to do it fairly well, but someone like Polio wouldn't really. His niche though, his thing is interesting spots.
Yeah.
It's not like really, really difficult tricks.
Same with like Ricky Oyola as well. Yeah. It's like that cellar door kind
I didn't feel like he transitioned well into other, I felt like he belonged just in Philadelphia, and when he went, it didn't quite feel right.
100%. So I got a couple of videos here that you said you filmed for, but I don't know how much you're in them. Like the Grow Up, X Rental, As If, like were they all kind of followed like a pattern around a similar time, or?
I'm not sure I know what As If is actually.
It's the Andy Evans video, but maybe you weren't in that and it's just false information. All right, we'll fuck that off.
I might have one trick in there or something that he might have filmed at somewhere.
False information.
False
news. All right, let's go back to sponsors then. So what was your first kind of hookup?
We've done this episode backwards, which I quite like.
Don't matter, is it?
Oh, so I think there's a shop called Factory in Colchester. He started I think he just gave me cost price stuff.
Yeah.
And then he sold Globe or whatever, so he managed to get a pair of globes for me. So just based on a sponsor me video, I just had to give a sponsor me video, and then he got a pair of globes for me. And then there's a company called Fat Planet that Rodney Clark.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Smithy or something. I can't remember, a guy called Smithy. Yeah, Smithy. Started, and that was very, very small little thing, but he gave me a few boards. I think probably I got Converse maybe.
How did that come about?
Yeah, because those Converse shoes look so good in that footage that you're skating in them. The models of them just look really fucking good.
I don't know. I mean, doing that 50-50 into the tunnel, I think.
Yeah.
Sort of maybe after that, and maybe got Converse. I really can't remember how Converse came about. really can't remember. I have no idea.
Because who else was on the Converse team? And we spoke to someone else about it.
When I was on it, it was Ben Laden.
That's it, yeah.
Toby Shaw.
Mm-hmm.
God, can't remember now. Who else? Bad, isn't it? Vaughan, Frank later.
Yeah.
Can't remember actually.
Did it stick around for a while?
Oh yeah, it was around for quite a long time.
Yeah.
Pete did that, and then I think Converse they did a load of really dodgy shoes.
Uh-huh.
And then they decided not to do a team anymore, and so just sort of switched to Globe, I think. But yeah, so I did Converse for a while, and that I got a bit of money for that, so I was able to sort of survive on that a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
They paid some travel and things like that. Yeah, and then think Slam. I think got sponsored by Slam, which it was a really good time actually. Slam.
Yeah.
Yeah, doing that. And then from that, I went to America, and I think that's what. Yeah, Alvin cold called me. I was staying at Judd Hertzler's house. Used to skate for Foundation.
Yeah.
Staying at his house, and Alvin just cold called me out the blue and said, "Yeah, when you come back, do you want to ride for Blueprint?" So, yeah.
Do you know what the process there was like? Had you seen footage or interviews, or had it been discussed before? Just completely.
No, it's just completely random. I think just completely cold call. Yeah, just phoned me up. Hadn't spoken to Alvin before, and he said, "Yeah, when you come back, we're doing Blueprint or something. We're just, redoing the team and things like that."
Yeah. Tracked you all the way down to the States.
Yes, they just somehow got the number there, phoned me up. So, yeah, it's quite random.
It's fucking interesting.
Yeah,
that
really
is.
random.
Headhunted.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know what that was based off of. Obviously, I'd had a couple of things, I think, that were, noticeable. I don't know what to say, really. Like the tunnel thing, I think, was kind of, a big
It's
thing.
like iconic photos, isn't it? Like you still talk about them to this day.
It was kind of a bit of a, I don't know. It was an interesting thing, and it was not big as in dangerous, but just kind of a,
just looked
a
good
thing
and
that
done good.
stood out, I suppose.
Yeah.
And then the thing at St Paul's, the 50 there, kind of stood out, I suppose.
Were you on Slam when Alvin called you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So obviously that was fine, I could keep riding for Slam because it's just a shop thing,
Yeah.
But I ended up getting everything I needed from Blueprint anyway, and so that was kind of the end of that era with Slam, but Slam was kind of, for me, I don't know, that was the most enjoyable time, really, I think,
Yeah.
to be honest.
When you got on Blueprint, did any of the footage that you used in America, did that get used in any Blueprint videos, or was that separate? Or am I getting my dates mixed up?
So Waiting for the World, I had a little bit, me and Shipman had a kind of shared part.
To a Bob Dylan song?
Yeah, which just you can't really watch on YouTube because they muted it, because obviously whoever owns the rights to Bob Dylan's music won't allow it. So, but I had a few bits in there. So then there's a little bit of that bogroll transition.
No, yeah.
I think I've got tricks maybe with MaGee's wide angle lens. Don't think he used any of the real bogroll stuff, but he used the wide angle. So I think I've got some tricks on the wide angle lens. Because I think when I first, so hazy, but I think when I first got on, I think one of the first things maybe we did is, I feel like we went to Bristol with Alvin and MaGee, maybe me, Alvin and MaGee. And I think I filmed a flip front board down Little Lloyd's. Yeah, and it was straight out, it's funny, it was straight out the car. Me on my own skating with Alvin, MaGee obviously waiting to film something. And I remember doing it, and it didn't take very long because I was obviously trying to do my best or whatever, and it just didn't take long anyway. And it worked really quickly and landed it nice and smooth. But, I remember Alvin just saying, "Oh, that was sick," and it's just like, that didn't matter that, how long it took you, And I think it just showed that he didn't really understand. Alvin was a bit out of touch with street skating. He was like, "Oh, it doesn't matter, that took you ages or whatever, it's still sick." Right. And it sort of to me, I was like, no, that was quick.
Yeah.
And I don't think he hadn't really been
around it enough to understand.
Well, he'd been in the warehouse and things and working. He left shortly after that, but I think he'd been, not maybe as in touch with skateboarding, you know. So, but yeah, that was just a little trip to Bristol, and we filmed that, and that was MaGee's sort of wide angle lens rather than so he didn't have the Vig, and he hadn't switched to the Death lens yet, so that stuff made it in there. And then I don't know, I just basically the end of the financial year at Converse, obviously you get a budget. Converse gave us a budget, and we didn't really use that budget. So at the end of the year, Pete just said to everyone, just phoned everyone up and said, is there anywhere in the world you want to go? You know, you can have a ticket. So a lot of people, Vaughan, he went to Australia and some other... Rushbrook? Yeah, Rushbrook was on Converse, right?
Vaughan said he went to Australia, and I can't remember who else said there was a Converse tour to France or something. I can't remember. But
yeah, a lot of people. Yeah, so a lot of people went to Australia.
Yeah,
and then I just don't know why. And I do know why, because I was obviously filming with Mike Manzoori, and then he knew John Humphreys.
Oh yeah.
So I took photos with John Humphreys while he was over here. And he said to me, oh, you know, you should come over to the States, come and stay with me.
Yeah.
So, Pete phoned me up and said, you can go anywhere you want. So I phoned up John, said, is it all right to come over? And he just said, yeah, just get an open return, you know, whatever it was, open return. I think it was a year open return ticket, but obviously I would have only had a tourist visa, so I couldn't have stayed that long. But I think you had a year on the ticket. And just went on my own to John's, and but it was really bad because when I turned up, he basically said, right, I'm going. So I reckon I was there probably a week or something. I got there, I had terrible jet lag. I don't know if I had a flu or something. I was just really ill for a couple of days, and then. So I reckon John was there under a week, and then he went back to Portland to see his ex-girlfriend and just never came back. And so I was in a house. He lived with Greg Hunt at the time. He lived with Rebecca Burnquist, Bob Burnquist's sister.
You arrived so sick.
And I was, so I was just in their front room, ill with this flu, or I don't know if it was jet lag or what. For a couple of days, and then so they couldn't even really use their front room, and then John disappears up to Portland, and I was just there, didn't know any of them, and I kept phoning John and saying, like, well, you know, what are you doing, when you're coming back? And he just kept saying he was coming back and didn't come back. And then after, you know, so it was getting bad, and then basically after a while, Greg just sat me down, and fair enough, but he just said, look, John's not coming back and you can't keep staying here, you know. And so I just, so it left me in a position I had to, try and find somewhere to sleep. I slept one night rough in someone's van. I'm like, I'm not doing that again.
Yeah.
Because I didn't know anyone, and I tried to stay there's Pat Smith, who I'd gone out with like once, and tried to stay at his a bit, but it was just, you know, just putting upon people really. I mean, one cool thing was waking up, and I woke up one morning and Bob Burnquist was just in the house, and that was just a pretty crazy experience, you know.
Yeah.
Because obviously he was just visiting his sister, but
So where did you go, and what did you do then if you couldn't stay there?
So in the end, I was just going to have to come back home, you know, and I mean, I didn't have a lot of money. I had the ticket that Pete had got me, and I had my product. So I didn't really, and I didn't have a lot of money, basically. I couldn't have got a hotel or anything like that. So in the end, I just met Judd Hertzler and his girlfriend at the time, Heather, at just a party on the beach, and they just heard about my situation. And he just said, oh, just come and stay with me. Come and stay with us. Yeah. So I stayed with him for a little while. I think I stayed there about 6 weeks in total, something like that the first time.
Yeah.
But it was stressful, you know. It was really,
I can
really
imagine.
stressful because I was just putting on people, putting people in an awkward situation. Well, I kind of hadn't. John had, really.
Fucking John.
He did say come up to Portland and stuff, but, you know, I didn't really have the money to do that or whatever, the resources to do that. But, I mean, he didn't say that as a definite thing. He said, oh, maybe if I don't come back, you can come back up here. But
And then you get to Portland and he's like, oh, I'm back.
yeah.
I'm back here now. Come back.
So it's pretty hard. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, just skated with Pat Smith a lot. I don't know what age I was, maybe 21 or something.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I just didn't have a clue about anything. I can see now what a complete child I was, and I had no bloody clue.
Mm-hmm.
It was crazy, really. Just getting on a plane on my own and just not really knowing how to do anything really, or, you know, and just being that sort of far away.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I suppose I was just relying on John to sort of, you know, tell me what to do and things like that, you know, and look after me a bit, really. And yeah, obviously he wasn't around, so I was just kind of a bit homeless, you know, for a little while. And I think Greg Hunt's landlord was getting funny as well, because he kept seeing me coming and going and wanted to know who the hell I was staying there, sort of thing. So I think that was why Greg in the end just said, look, you're gonna have to either go home or, you know, find somewhere else, sort of thing. So that's quite stressful, but yeah. And then I went, so yeah, I got that ticket paid for by Converse. I mean, to do things, it's hard to look back when we're in a position, I mean, now where, you know, you've got a house and you've got money and you've got a partner and you know, it's hard to look back and judge yourself when you had nothing, you had no way of getting anything, and you know, it's hard to sort of judge, you know, because now you just think, oh, I'd just get a hotel or I'd just do this or that. But back then you just didn't have any money. You sort of forget what it's like to have when you're doing that, when you're sort of living that life. I mean, the money I got from Converse was 40 quid a week or something, trying to survive on that, and then maybe sell a bit of product or something. And you're trying to do everything with that. Yeah, and you know, so judging myself on what I would do now, you know, because I wouldn't put up with that, you know, I wouldn't go through that now, but yeah, it's hindsight.
Did you get much footage or any photos on that trip then?
So I filmed a bit with Smitty.
Yeah.
Yeah, SF Smitty, I think he goes by.
Has he filmed for anti-hero stuff?
Yeah.
Smitty.
I think that's right, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, and Ewan Bowman as well.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and that was funny because when I was there, I was the first person that Ewan ever filmed with on, you know, over there, I think, with his VX. I think he'd just got his VX. I don't think he even had a lens. I think he was waiting for his lens. And he didn't know how to use the camera. And I'd just been around cameras, actually, not a VX as such, but he just didn't know how to use it. And I, you know, so I obviously helped him. And the things I'd obviously learnt from Mike Manzoori, different techniques and stuff. I obviously I was basically telling Ewan how to film, basically, you know, because he didn't really know, but he just had this, you know, he didn't, you know, he was just over there, he'd sort of moved over there, and he didn't really have, his plan was, I'm going to become a filmer, really. So he spent a lot of money on a VX and didn't know how to use it, hadn't filmed with anyone, had no connections or hookups with anyone. And so I just told him some of the stuff Mike had told me how to film and things like that. So me and Ewan went out and just skated everything. And we just went to Fort Miley and stuff like that and filmed a load of stuff, and that footage never got used, but it was I think it was Ewan's first stuff. I don't know if he'd owned cameras before that. I don't know. I don't think so. So I don't know how ropey that footage was. It obviously never got used, but that was his sort of first introduction to it, and it was good. It was good fun. But
so who taught Manzoori how to film?
Don't know really. Him and Mark Channer met in some sort of media studies thing, didn't they?
Oh, right, yeah.
So I think it was all kind of part of that. And so, I mean, you know, sound and vision, you know, I think you can obviously see that's them learning. That's, you know, it's, well, a lot of filming was fairly ropey back then anyway, and the cameras are ropey, but they would have obviously learned it through trial and error. But I suppose when Mike had those sort of tips on how to make stuff look big or fast or whatever, it's just stuff he'd picked up from probably being in the States and being around people, really.
Yeah.
And then passed it on to me, and I kind of passed that on to Ewan. And obviously Ewan's gone on to do a lot, hasn't he, I think.
Hell of a lot, yeah.
Yeah, so that's good. Yeah, and did stuff with that Smitty guy. And that was in a Thrasher video. There's a few bits in a Thrasher video.
What video?
But again, that was that. I think that was that transition time, but when it was moving on to Death Lens and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I think maybe. So I think Smitty was just starting to learn to use that, but he was really cool. He was just a really down to earth sound person. He took me to the Thrasher offices and Slap, and they just gave me loads of loads of Slap stuff actually, Slap t-shirts and all of that stuff. So that was really cool. Yeah,
Nice.
but he lived with Diego,
The Butcher.
the Butcher. So I skated. Had the pleasure of skating a handrail with the Butcher.
How was that?
Yeah, it's fine. I did a feeble down it, and he did a blunt slide, and it was fine.
This is Russ sent me this question. Tell us about giving Henry Sanchez a lift in your Morris Minor to the shop during the Radlands comp.
Yeah, and Guy Mariano as well.
In at the same
So you
time.
missed that?
No, separately. But yeah, well, it wasn't my Morris, it was my mum's. So my mum had a Morris Traveller, which is the one that's half wood.
Yeah.
It has a sort of wooden frame right on the back. And obviously, yeah, they had a hotel, and all their product was the hotel. So if we wanted to buy stuff, they're like, we've got more stuff at the hotel.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I was just, because I was the one driving, I was just had to ferry them back to the hotel. So yeah, at one point I drove my Guy Mariano in my mum's Traveller, and he just couldn't believe it. I was like, what the hell is this thing? He's like, it's made of wood. He just couldn't believe it was made of wood. He just didn't know what the hell it was.
What the hell is this thing?
Yeah, and Henry Sanchez. And I was sitting on a bench in SF, years later, and Henry Sanchez come up, and he wanted my old bottle. I was drinking a bottle of water, and he wanted my bottle to go and get tap water, and he come and sat by me while I finished my water. I should have said to him, then, do you remember? Do you remember me and Mum's Morris Traveller? But
It always used to puzzle me when they used to come over to the Radlands comps, because they used to bring over so much product.
yeah,
It must have cost a fortune in like extra airfares and stuff. 'Cause
Yeah, you would have
boards
thought
weigh
so.
a ton, don't they? And they would always have
yeah.
20, 30 plus decks.
Yeah.
And so many wheels and
But for us, it was just such a good opportunity. I think I bought one off Mike Fraser or something,
Big
and
fish.
it's just dirt cheap.
yeah. I mean, so when you did the European contest thing, it was just you could just buy products off all of them.
Yeah,
It was it was the one time that you could get discounted product a year, and there was a lot of it about.
yeah. So I ferried some big name pros in that. It was funny.
It used to be funny though, those Radlands comps, because there was just the biggest names pros everywhere, all over the place.
Yeah, no, it was amazing.
It was a good time, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Really good fun.
Yeah.
You were also talking about being in the States for the first time. You went back again. How many times did you go back?
Just twice. And then me and Adam went back. Again, Pete phoned up saying, we haven't used the budget up for the year. Is there anywhere you want to go? And I was like, I'll just go to SF again.
Yeah.
And
With a bit more of a structured plan this time.
Can I take my mate with me?
Yeah.
And so, Pete was just like, yeah, it's fine. He got us both tickets to SF.
When you say Pete, what Pete who?
Pete Turvey?
So it was Turvey doing it then?
Yeah.
Big up Pete Turvey.
Mm.
What's he doing now? I've not seen him for a long time.
I'm not sure, actually. But yeah, he was just very chilled out.
Yeah, nice guy.
And
I only met him a couple of times, but
that was the thing, again, me being just very neurotic and everything. I was in SF, and I was just stressing about, we've been bought these tickets, we need to have something to show for it. And then Pete was just like, I don't
just go
care.
and enjoy yourself.
He just said that. I phoned him up, just going, Pete, we've not... Because we got there and it just rained. It was abnormal amounts of rain. It just absolutely hammering it down the streets were like rivers. And that went on for I don't know, it felt like a couple of weeks or something. So we got there and we couldn't even skate. I even went skating in the rain and stuff because I was just so frustrated. And then I was just despairing because I was just like, we've had these tickets bought for us. and I felt I had to get stuff done.
Yeah.
So I was just stressing about that, you know, and I was phoning up Pete saying, "Oh, it's just rain, Pete, and we haven't been able." He's just like, "Just have fun then, just don't worry about it," you know.
Yeah.
He didn't care, but I was sort of putting that pressure on myself because to me it was a lot of money. And
yeah, well, I mean, it's kind of unusual for somebody to be sponsored to realise that though as well, isn't it? Like, you know, somebody's paid for these tickets and you've got those tickets because you're a representative of those sponsors, and you know,
a lot of
brands.
people would just go, "Fuck it, it's
Yeah,
raining."
that's what I'm
Can't do
saying. So
anything
it's
about
very
it.
unusual that somebody would have the foresight to understand that. So
yeah, but I was always like that, you know, just being really, really sort of hard on myself.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, just feeling like I had to do a job or something, you know, and just couldn't, you know, couldn't sort of relax.
yeah,
And obviously that was bad for Adam because, I mean, you know, he was in that mindset where he didn't care. He got the ticket and he didn't care.
he was having a holiday.
Yeah, and then he would be playing bloody Tony Hawk's, and I'm like, mate, you're in San Francisco and you're playing a computer game, playing pretend skateboarding when you could be out skateboarding. He'd be doing that all morning and just driving me mad. Or he'd go and send emails for hours at this internet cafe. And I was stressing, you know, and it's just me, you know, part of it, I was ruining things because I was just stressing. I was worrying about needing to have something to show for it.
Yeah.
And obviously it was the Blueprint video and I wanted to, you know, do well at that as well. And we just had the rain and all that. And there was loads of parties going on all the time. So we were just going to these parties and everything else and not being very productive skateboard wise a lot of the time, you know, just getting swept along to free parties, frat parties and things like that. So, you know, but it's just spoiling it by wanting to be productive and maybe not really understanding how to be productive as well, you know, back then, which I'd probably understand how to do a bit better now. So so really we only got a handful of bits really.
Yeah.
When we look at it.
And was the majority of that from that footage that's online where you do the tray flip and Mayday to fakie? Is that all kind of from that trip?
Yeah, it's just those few bits really. Yeah.
Talk to us about your hip injury and how that all sort of came about.
I think that we went, when I remember it starting was after a globe trip to Paris. And yeah, it started on that trip and it's just a groin injury and it's just like a really sharp, you know, just, I don't know, if you rate pain 1 to 10, you know, it feels like it, although it's only a split second, feels like a lightning bolt. But
yeah, I
think if you had to rate it on that scale, I don't know, a 9 or 9.5, but it's just for such a split second. You know, if you had that pain constantly, it'd be obviously unbearable, but because it's a split second, but it would just be so bad. And, you know, and it was my pushing leg.
Yeah.
So I just tried to skate switch for a year, pushing switch and doing everything switch for a year to try and keep skating. And it just wasn't healing. And it would hurt when I landed on, if I was doing, you know, I did a board slide one day when I landed on the rail, and when I landed on the floor, it would stab me 3 times. And I just thought, I can't go on with this, you know. And I was a postman at the time, so I was having to walk for, don't know what the rounds were back then, but it was standing up all morning. And then I think the rounds were probably like 4 hours every day. So you had to do about a 4-hour walk every day. So I was just limping around this post round just in absolute agony, having to use the bike to prop myself up and stuff. It was just ridiculous. So definitely couldn't skate. And I thought, oh, well, it'll heal. I just give it time. And it just didn't heal. I just had that for 3 years.
Did you get it looked at?
So I went to a chiropractor and he gave me a full body x-ray.
Yeah.
Told me I'd broken my spine at some point. He said, yeah, did you know you'd broken your spine? So no.
Do you know when that was, how you did that?
Well, when I broke my spine, no. And it could have been any, you know, I don't know, you fall a lot. It's like the coccyx parts, or what would have been our tail.
Yeah.
in evolution, I suppose. But that's just floating there in my body. It's like, yeah, it'll obviously never reattach. It's just going to float there. But it's like, you don't need it. But, you know, that's the thing, you know, there's probably a lot of us that have broken the base of our spine off and we don't know it.
I did that, but
yeah,
I had to have it removed because it got infected.
Oh, my God.
Oh,
yeah.
it's gnarly.
But yeah, it's exactly the same.
I mean, I could pinpoint it to quite a few occasions where I felt, I mean, we went on a globe trip and it was outside the hotel and there was a ledge down, I think a couple of stairs, but it was a high ledge. And I tried a front blunt on it and landed, jumped off. And I was like, right, next one. So fully committed and went for it and just missed the blunt. The board went over the ledge and both feet went over the ledge. So I went straight back onto my back and everyone was stood over me. I couldn't speak. I literally couldn't move and couldn't speak. I was just trying to speak because everyone was like, are you all right? And I just couldn't speak. It wasn't like being winded. It wasn't because I was winded. It was like a kind of being paralysed for a second. It was such a bash on the base of the spine. I just couldn't move. And I just laid there sort of in a, K-hole, I suppose, with everyone just saying, are you all right? And it took me a long time to be able to speak. And then, and then I couldn't skate the rest of the trip. So that could well have been it. But then there's other times where I've curbed myself on the coccyx, really badly. And, and you don't even go to hospital, as a skateboarder. If someone else falls like that, they'll go to the hospital. But with us, you just do some horrific thing to yourself and you just limp it off and carry on trying the trick if you can. If you can still drag yourself up to do the trick again, it
probably was that if it felt like that at the time, like I know when I did mine, and that's what it. Yeah, like the whole like you not feel like you just don't know what to sort of do with yourself in that moment. That seems similar to what I had.
Yeah.
So you said the doctor said to you you've broken your spine at some point.
The chiropractor showed me on the X-ray, said you've snapped your coccyx off, but couldn't identify. I mean, I think he said your body's misaligned, obviously, but it's probably just weight bearing a lot on one side when you're pushing and things like that. So he tried some stuff, but I didn't really have the money to continue that. The X-ray itself was £100 and it was just a lot of money, and didn't continue with that and tried. Yeah, I don't know. I think I just, just couldn't continue financially with the treatment, really. Tried stuff on the NHS and that didn't work. They just give you physio and that wasn't it. And then, so I just basically accepted I wasn't going to be able to skate again because it wasn't going. And it's in and that was a pretty bad place to be, thinking I've got this permanent thing and trying to limp round a post round doing it, trying to keep a job. And after about nearly 3 years, someone at work just said, "Oh, you used to skate, didn't you?" And he had that Dogtown film.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And he was like, "Oh, me and my missus watched this. They didn't skate or have anything to do with skating, but they just watched it out of interest." And he's like, "Oh," and he lent me it. And I watched that, and I was just, I think it reconnected. I think I was really jaded by that point with skateboarding anyway. Mm-hmm. When I got hurt, I think I was just really, really jaded with it anyway. And I think that sort of reconnected me with why I'd started skating. Probably did that for a lot of people. Mm-hmm. Sort of, and I just thought, no, I skated really for the, it's sort of just, even if I could just roll around again, I'd be grateful for that at that point, So someone else at work, I just randomly talking to one of the post ladies there, and she just said, "Oh, I had this." I was talking to her about it, and she just said, "Oh, there's this really good osteopath." Mm-hmm. She just said he's amazing. He fixed me and everything like that. Try him. So I tried him, and he did. He said he would. I went in, and he just went, "Oh yeah, I've seen this loads of times before. You'll be skating." He said, "You're too young to just not be doing what you like. So I'll have, you'll be skating again in a few months." And I was. He just somehow, it was brutal. I mean, I sounded like a bit of bubble wrap when he was ringing me out, and it sounded brutal. It was quite scary. I thought, "Are you actually going to paralyze me here?" But he did something, I assume, because...
Whereabouts on you to do that? Like on your back or...?
So usually, if you've not been to an osteopath before, one of their sort of moves is to turn your hips one way, shoulders the other way, get on top of you, and just bounce on you, and then do a really big bounce at the end, and then it just like when you ring out bubble wrap, you just hear all this popping, and I did, it's horrendous popping.
Did it hurt?
Oh yeah, for a second it's horrible, and and then as the sessions go on, you sound less like bubble wrap. And he also did acupuncture, did the where you run electricity through it, which is
electrolysis, is it?
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
But that's more of an instant thing. So I think that's maybe not as. I think that's just relaxes the muscles and things like that. So
it sends electric currents through and tenses and so releases the tension in it.
So rather than a long-term fix, I think with that is maybe obviously it probably helps with that. But I think that I walked out of there not in pain, but that's probably the acupuncture things. So yeah, he just really fixed me. So then I was able to skate again, and then and by that time, I mean, when Matt Pritchard was the Globe team manager.
Yeah.
When I had my injury, went on that Globe trip, came back, and then that injury just wouldn't go, and he was just he'd send me a package, and I'm like, Matt, I can't skate. You're sending me shoes and I can't skate. And he was really cool. He's just like, we'll just wear them to the pub then. Don't worry about it. You're entitled to them. You're hurt. Just don't worry about it. And he kept doing that month after month. He'd just be like, what do you want? And I'll be like, I still just can't skate. And he just kept sending them. And in the end, I just said, look, I feel bad taking them. And he said, well, I'll hold your place open for you until you're better.
That's rad.
And then it just didn't get better for 3 years. And by that, he was probably doing TV stuff or whatever, and someone else was doing it. So that had moved on. The Blueprint thing, I think that with that had kind of gone a bit sour anyway, and I think that was an unspoken thing anyway between me and Dan. I was over it, and I think he was over it, and so I just didn't really call him again, and he didn't call me again, and so that kind of stopped, and when I came back to it, I didn't call him up about Blueprint or anything like that. That had moved on. It was 3 years later, and to be honest, I just felt that I was happy. Genuinely, I had a job, a full-time job. I had loads of disposable money because I didn't have kids or anything like that. I just had a fairly cheap rent. Had money, and I just actually quite happy just to buy boards.
Yes.
More than happy just to have the freedom of just enjoying skating, because I'd had all that, what I felt as a build-up of pressure.
Internal pressure.
Yeah, that I'd put on myself, thinking I'm getting stuff and I need to do stuff. And actually, and I did want to reconnect with what I had got from that Dogtown film, really. I wanted to stay connected to that, which was, nothing to do with being good or being sponsored or doing just a job. Around. It was just, what I really, to start with, was just wanting to roll around and thinking I'd be happy with that, So then just enjoyed really freedom of doing that. And I mean, MaGee gave me another package, along the lines, but I didn't really expect to reignite that one.
Yeah.
So
as long as you reignite the skateboarding, that's the main moral of the story.
It sort of run its course, and at the end of the day, I was doing a bad job. I could see that I was doing a crap job, and and so I understand. I understand that now. It's not anyone's fault. I just didn't really understand myself and how I I didn't really understand how to cope with things back then, and so I did a crap job. And I can get it from MaGee's point of view. There's never an official end to it. It was just nothing was said. I just didn't call him and he didn't call me, and
just ran its course, kind of thing.
And I wasn't doing a good job, and that's sort of on me for not being able to cope. But we lived in a different time then, when it was hard. It was difficult to do the job. You had to rely on other people heavily to do what you were supposed to do, and as an era, it wasn't a good fit for me, I don't think. I think being able to self-publish now, I think would work for me.
Mm-hmm.
And then I could just, do my thing and self-publish and probably do a lot better job than I did back then. But yeah.
Hindsight's a wonderful thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
On that note, shall we go have a little roll downstairs while the sun's out? Maybe set up, what were you calling it? The selfie stick cam, what was it?
Trick on a stick.
Trick on a stick. Maybe just have a little roll around and just enjoy the sun. And
let's do that.
Well, thank you for coming on.
Yeah,
sorry it took a while.
Well, that's
but
partly down to my situation
both of our faults. We're 50-50 here.
We're glad you got you on the end.
Yeah. Thank you very much for coming on.
Cheers.
Can we get a nice round of applause here, please? Everyone in a little, what's that, little golfer's clap? Right, let's go film
the poet's clap,
one of those. Let's go film a trick on a stick.